The discharge of nuclear wastewater from an island nation led to mutations in marine life, heralding the apocalypse. Before the collapse of civilization, the entire population embarked on infinite loop transmigration survival. As long as one returns alive from the parallel apocalypse, they can obtain abundant rewards and rapidly become stronger. Shen Yun bound the system and could sign in to obtain a supreme golden finger upon entering another world. Island survival at the start, sign in to obtain a 10,000-fold critical hit, ensuring ample food and drink. Haicheng. On Limin Square, thousands of people were queuing to receive a mysterious item, the Transcendent Stone. Around them, a group of armed soldiers were maintaining order. The crowd conversed in very low voices, making the atmosphere on the square extremely oppressive. Shen Yun, standing in line, felt helpless, transmigrated, and still transmigrating. Ridiculous. As an orphan, he had transmigrated into this apocalyptic world on the verge of a sea monster landing. Not only that, after receiving the Transcendent Stone, everyone would transmigrate to another world to survive and gain rewards to become stronger. Only then, upon returning to reality, would they have the ability to face the ocean beast tide. Everywhere is a disaster. Might as well die, said the old man in front, his tone bitter. The group of old friends around him also wore worried expressions. Because just this morning a voice suddenly rang out in the minds of everyone in the world. Mutation history. 300 years ago, nuclear wastewater caused ocean creatures to mutate, becoming extremely aggressive. After only 50 years, humanity lost the right to explore the ocean. 200 years ago, mutated creatures gradually landed on the ground, hunting humans. Racial war began. Initially, humans had the advantage, but mid-war they were defeated until a country dropped a nuclear bomb into the ocean, causing the mutated species to retreat. 100 years ago, a large number of powerful species carrying nuclear radiation emerged from the sea, and humans were powerless. It was discovered that the monsters were extremely interested in nuclear energy. All countries formed an alliance and unanimously passed the nuclear casting plan, thereby delaying the landing of mutated marine creatures to develop high-tech weapons for resistance. These three simple prompts showed that humanity, which had dominated Earth for years, was already in decline. If one word could describe it, too late for regrets was the most appropriate. Because at the beginning no one could stop the nuclear wastewater discharge of Sakura country. Even most of its citizens showed an indifferent attitude, bowing to apologize when questioned by foreigners, then forgetting about it. When this mysterious voice spoke the final words, everyone was shrouded in gloom. According to detection, humanity has no power to resist this catastrophe. The Heavenly Dao has specially initiated the Universal Transmigration Plan. Everyone must survive in another world and obtain scoring rewards. Scoring rewards include high-tech products, elimination of internal nuclear radiation strength, as an evolver, superpowers, evolutionary crystals, various supplies, etc. Friendly reminder: after a transmigrator dies in another world, they die permanently. Humanity's chances are zero. Although universal transmigration gave humanity a glimmer of hope, but survival in another world sounded nothing like a vacation. At that moment, a staff member in front of the queue shouted, "Next, Shen Yun." Shen Yun stepped forward quickly and arrived at a 5-meter pale blue stone pillar. This was the Transcendent Stone sent down by the Heavenly Dao. Everyone could receive one and use it at 2 p.m. when the universal transmigration commenced. Those who didn't get one needn't worry, it would appear in their hand 30 seconds before transmigration. Many people came here just to verify the information or enjoy the spectacle. A flash of light on the stone pillar, and a blue stone the size of an infant's fist fell into Shen Yun. I wonder what the first world will be. Caressing the stone in his hand, he quickly left. Universal transmigration in 5 minutes. All those preparing to transmigrate, please wait in the safe zone. Upon transmission, people will directly disappear and appear in another world in their own clothes. You may choose not to transmigrate. Note: after transmigration, identity and mission are random. Returning alive earns scoring rewards. Friendly reminder: the other world is a real parallel world. In the rented room, Shen Yun listened to the prompt in his mind, lying on the bed, tightly gripping the Transcendent Stone and a plastic bag. I hope I can take these things with me. Just to be safe, he filled the plastic bag with clothes, food, and tools. If he transmigrated to an apocalyptic world, the supplies in the bag might sustain him for a while. If he couldn't bring them with his untrained physique, his start would be very difficult. He took one last look at the 30 square meter room, confirmed nothing was left behind, then slowly closed his eyes. Universal transmigration countdown: 3, 2, 1. Friendly reminder: transmigrators cannot carry any supplies. Shit. Ding. Welcome transmigrator Shen Yun to island survival. Current island number 9527. Survival time 30 days. Obtaining items such as fishing, picking fruits, etc. may trigger item rewards. Note: certain actions on the island will become scoring points. Upon returning to reality, rewards will be distributed based on score. Newbie protection: everyone has an email trading function. In the next world, the email function will be completely removed. Starting weapon: stone, axe, certain actions Seems there are no mission hints. I can only figure it out myself. Opening his eyes, Shen Yun looked around to observe the environment. It was a huge island. Inside were mountains and dense forests. Outside was a vast ocean. Around Shen Yun were dozens of men and women. They all wore gray cloth clothes, trousers, and straw sandals, holding a short-handled stone axe. In the lower left of his vision, there was a transmigrated chat box. In the lower right were 5 icons: character attributes, backpack, friends, email, trade. Fuck. A stone axe at the start. How are we supposed to play? Yelled a blonde young man in disbelief. Someone with survival skills would have a kingly start. Well, at least it's not a virus apocalypse or something. Everyone quiet down. At that moment, a middle-aged uncle jumped onto a rock and shouted to the crowd, "I am the boss of Tianhao Group. Who wants to be my bodyguard? After we get out, I'll give each person a bonus of 1 million. Wow, 1 million. I added him as a friend. His ID info is indeed the Tianhao boss, not a con man. Let's go, let's go. Many interested people quickly ran over. Due to the global ocean nuclear contamination, all kinds of food were more or less polluted. 1 million could already buy a lot of food with very low nuclear pollution. Moreover, helping each other could increase the survival rate. Everyone, regardless of age or gender, gathered around the Tianhao boss to sign up. Rich people sure have it easy, muttered Shen Yun, turning away with his stone axe. Though he was 185 centimeters tall, and extremely handsome, bodyguards would naturally prefer stronger. For now, besides his looks, he had nothing to offer. He had to rely on himself. Shen Yun opened his backpack and found only 1 folding fishing rod and 1 bait. He muttered to himself, maybe I should find more bait first. With more bait, he could not only fish, but also weave bamboo baskets to trap fish in cages. He vaguely recalled a weaving technique he saw online. He would try it later. Thinking this, Shen Yun strode quickly into the dense forest. Other transmigrators have golden fingers. I've transmigrated twice and have nothing. But novels were after all fake. He had to face reality. Suddenly, a cold mechanical prompt sounded in Shen Yun's mind. Ding. Host Shen Yun detected. Do you wish to bind the super sign-in system? System. Shen Yun's eyes widened, and every hair on his body stood up in excitement. Could it be that the golden finger only appeared when he called for it? Without time to think, he mentally said bind. Ding. Congratulations. Host successfully bound the super sign-in system, a system containing multiple super golden fingers. Detecting current world island survival. Would you like to sign in for a super golden finger? Sign in. Shen Yun was full of anticipation. Ding. Sign in successful. Congratulations. Host has obtained the super golden finger. 10,000-fold critical hit. 10,000-fold critical hit. Any item obtained by the host in the island world will be multiplied by 10,000 times. Ding. Detecting host has fishing island item bait. Triggering 10,000-fold critical hit, gaining 1000 baits. Placed in system backpack. Detecting short-handled stone axe. Triggering 10,000-fold critical hit, gaining 1000 axes. Detecting backpack clothes. A series of prompts made Shen Yun's breathing quicken. Holy shit, 10,000-fold. This is insane. Why bother digging for earthworms now? With the system, it's straight to the top. Host, stay calm. In other worlds, you can sign in for other golden fingers. Like unlimited resource, refresh, duplication, amplification, you first, I9 split, law of words, etc. To escort you. Let you experience the most professional service of the system in every world. See what professionalism means. This is it. Awesome, bro system. Shen Yun's mouth twisted in a grin. He could barely hold back from shouting out his excitement. Just by the names, you could tell how invincible these golden fingers were. The future was promising. Phew. Shen Yun suppressed his excitement and ran towards the seaside. In island survival, obtaining items had a chance to trigger item rewards. With the 10,000-fold critical hit and so much bait, just thinking about it made him wildly excited. To avoid exposure, Shen Yun came to a secluded, steep, rocky slope. He then took several handfuls of earthworms from his system space and threw them into the sea. Fishermen call this chumming. First lure the fish over, then the chances of a catch are high. The method of retrieving items from the space is simple. Just use your mind. Shen Yun crouched and waved his hand, and 5 fishing rods appeared on the ground. Before the tide rises, he'll wrap earthworms in leaves and press them under rocks. After the tide recedes, there should be catches. After a flurry of activity, he baited and cast out the 5 rods, then used stones to weigh them down and sat on the rock. Phew, so hot. The weather was scorching, the sun blinding. Even the sea breeze carried a sweltering heat. Shen Yun wiped the sweat from his face and checked the messages in the transmigrator chat box. Zhang San, I participated in a reality show survival program. Anyone with similar experience want to explore the mountains? Currently, 3 people need 2 more. Coordinates Island 7,267. Luo Chung need an experienced fisherman, monthly salary 2 million. Private message. If not on the same island, trade via mail. Richard John, is there a doctor? My friend was bitten by a venomous snake in the forest. His face is turning. Zhou Shui, any classmates from Haisher High School on Island 9. Teaming up, calling for help, and finding people became hot topics. Only fishing suits me. Shen Yun mused. The dense forest surely had abundant food, but it also came without skills. Going in would likely end up like that foreign friend, dead for nothing. Suddenly, he noticed the float on his left sink sharply and quickly grabbed the rod to pull it up. Fortunately, the fish bit hard. As a novice, Shen Yun didn't overthink. He gathered all his strength and lifted the rod. Swoosh! A crisp slicing sound echoed over the sea. It was clear how strong the fish was underwater. Shen Yun staggered a bit, then steadied himself, his face flushed using all his arm strength. Pure brute force. 10,000 times loot explosion. Self-brainwashed, he suddenly felt a surge of power, veins bulging on his forehead, and jerked the rod up. Rise. Splash. A 20-centimeter fish was yanked into the air, scattering water droplets. Phew. Fishing is exhausting. He swung the fish onto the rock and quickly stepped forward to pin it down. A message appeared on the fish. Sea goldfish obtained by Shen Yun. Triggered item reward 250 milliliters mineral water generated in character backpack. Mineral water. Nice. Shen Yun's eyes lit up. He mentally stowed the fish into his backpack. Sure enough, in the backpack there was the fish and a bottle of water. Meanwhile, a system notification rang in his mind. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining 1 sea goldfish and 1 250 milliliters mineral water. Triggered 10,000 times loot obtained 1 sea goldfish dead and 1 bottles of mineral water. Reminder system space has preservation and timing functions, no need to worry about expiration. Awesome. Even fish got the loot boost. Shen Yun grinned. Seeing no one around, he quickly took out a bottle of water, opened it, and took a few gulps. Huh. Refreshing. He poured the remaining water onto his face. The cool feeling was indescribably invigorating. He put away the bottle, baited the hook, and cast again. Now I have food and water. I wonder if trading with others will trigger the loot boost. System voice host, rest assured the 10,000 times loot is straightforward and brutal. Every item you obtain gets boosted. Hearing this, Shen Yun rejoiced and quickly opened the transmigrated chat box to browse for exchange requests regarding food and water. But there was too much content, his eyes were dizzy from scrolling. He directly opened the input box and sent a message. Shen Yun, 1 250 milliliters mineral water trade for practical supplies. As soon as the message was sent, his mailbox was flooded with notification sounds. Ding. Island 926, oh Elizabeth, attachment 1 small umbrella. Ding. Island 17653, Wong Defa, attachment a pair of stockings. Within just a few breaths the mail count reached 99. Mail trades require both parties to click agree. Sending items in advance does not allow them to be taken. Shen Yun quickly opened the mails and checked them one by one. Stockings, toothbrushes, sun hats, gum, all sorts of items. There were many practical things. A sharpened toothbrush could serve as a simple dagger or be used to make a spear. Stockings were also good. Several layers put together with earthworms inside made a simple fish trap, though uncertain if it would last until low tide. The rest were small trinkets. After all, it was only the first day of survival. Everyone tried to hold onto the most practical items. But in a few days, when water and food run out, the situation would change. After checking the mailbox, Shen Yun selected practical items from 20 different islanders and tapped one-click trade. Shwa shwa shwa. Items flew into the backpack one by one. The 10,000 times loot notifications made him grin from ear to ear. Gum, toothbrushes, stockings, flashlights, lighters, binoculars. All 20 items were boosted to 1 each. This is really awesome. He took out a piece of gum, popped it in his mouth, and sat leisurely on the rock fishing. As for the risk of exposure from the trades, it was minimal. He had deliberately chosen people from 20 different islands. With tens of billions of people worldwide, quite a few had chosen to transmigrate today. Nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, the fishing that followed resulted in either no catch or fish escaping the hook. In the whole afternoon, he only caught one small fish, and it didn't come with any item reward. Shen Yun wasn't worried. He already had 200 edible fish. With ample food, he treated it as practice. During this time, he took out stockings, doubled them layer by layer, stuffed them with earthworms, tied them into traps, and placed them for low-tide harvesting. As time passed, the sun set in the west, and the tide rose. I need to go back and find a shelter. Shen Yun looked at the sky, then placed the prepared stocking worm traps into nearby rock crevices, using stones to weigh them down. When the tide receded, he would at least get something. Placing the 7th trap into a pit, he moved a stone to press it down, when he suddenly noticed a thumb-sized little crab in the rock crevice. Crab legs are meat too. He quickly covered it with his hand, and picked up the little crab with a smile. But the next, seeing the information displayed on the crab, Shen Yun's hand trembled. Slab crab obtained by Shen Yun, carrying item silenced him. 4 carbine, 5 rounds, oh my, such a little treasure. Shen Yun was overjoyed. He eagerly placed the crab into his backpack. As for only 5 bullets was that. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining slab crab silenced M, 4 carbine, and 5 rounds. Triggered 10,000 times loot obtained 1 slab crabs, dead M, 4 carbines, and 5 rounds. Haha, what a wild turn of events. Who can beat this? Shen Yun's tense, nerves completely relaxed, filled with a sense of security. Thousands of guns and bullets. Having such a foundation on this island was no exaggeration to call it an arsenal. Today's a massive harvest. He packed up the rods, smilingly took out a few fish for dinner, and started cleaning. When Shen Yun left the coast and reached the beach, he found many people gathered there with bonfires blazing. With no equipment at the moment, even the boldest wouldn't dare stay in the pitch-black dense forest. Shen Yun slowly walked to an open spot on the beach, observing the food supplies of those around him. Most groups didn't have enough food for 3 to 5 people. 2 or 3 fish plus some shells and small crabs were barely a bite for adults. Shen Yun sat down in an empty area, opened the chat box, and typed a line selling 20 slab crabs want 10 gene of dry firewood and leaves plus large leaves for bedding. The surrounding deadwood had all been collected. Even the stones had been turned over. Finding an earthworm was nearly impossible. But it didn't matter. He had supplies. Having supplies makes one master of the world. Within moments his mailbox chimed. The mailbox is convenient, a pity it won't last. Survival will only grow harder. Shen Yun opened the mailbox, confirmed the transaction, and set about arranging firewood for a bonfire. He had a lighter for fire. Before the sea bream were hauled ashore, he had already cleaned 2 of them. Skewering the sea bream on wooden spits, Shen Yun grilled them and arched an amused brow. These may be the cleanest things I've ever eaten. Having crossed into this world, he had eaten much that had been contaminated by radiation in his former life. Even the radiation detectors at his old office had shown alarms. This realm and his previous world were utterly different environments. But what could be done about events already set in motion? People had grown used to them. Before long, the primal scent of roasting fish drifted through the air. Watching the 2 oil-sizzling sea bream, the nearby hungry onlookers eyed them with envy and murmured, "Look at him. So lucky, eating 2 fish by himself. I only managed 6 little crabs, and am still starving." Alas, there aren't even earthworms nearby. Tomorrow we'll either have to knock the oyster shells and barnacles off the cliff or risk heading into the forest. Keep your voice down. Otherwise others will beat us to it, and there will be nothing left. Were it not for the cold wind off the shore and the dangers of the woods, Shen Yun would have preferred not to roast his fish in the crowd. When the fish was almost done, he swallowed, blew on it, and bit into the belly. Tender and fragrant. Starvation sharpened every flavor. This fish tasted like nothing he had ever known. He finished the 2 fish quickly. Night had fallen. The waves beat rhythmically against the sand like a lullaby, and the fatigue of an afternoon's toil washed over everyone. Seeing many people digging pits to lie in, Shen Yun took out a stone axe and followed suit. The hollows shielded against the wind. Here, falling ill meant no hospital to turn to. To conserve energy, he dug a narrow pit to lie on his side, then placed a heap of black stockings inside. Sitting upon them made for a soft, insulating bed. Quite serviceable. Not bad. Shen Yun settled into the sand pit, a sour smile tugging at his lips as he watched the shadowed figures around him whisper, "Tomorrow, I must find a proper shelter." In a world of scarce resources, living among strangers was a formula for trouble. Even those who seemed familiar might become the architects of disaster. Better to be cautious. Life is not to be gambled. He yawned and closed his eyes. He did not dare to sleep deeply. Whenever drowsiness threatened, he rose to exercise and keep himself alert. Before dawn the next day, those who knew the tide times slipped away from the resting area to scour the coastal rocks for seafood. At a jagged stretch of shoreline, 7 men and women gathered to inspect the haul they had just brought in. Crabs, octopi, and scores of fish, so much seafood that their faces lit up with excitement. A burly man crouched among the catch, thumbed through it, and laughed. "With all this seafood and the supplies we scored, we can eat well for days. Never expected such a haul. It's like striking it rich, ha. Thanks to a Hui for showing up early to scoop the tide. What a find." A plump woman beside him gave a Hui a thumb up, then turned to the young girl and said with a smile, "Li Rawashi, let's head back and light a fire. Cook up some seafood to lift our spirits." Li Rawashi was a famous star. The woman was a cleaner from her agency who had happened to land on the same island. The 5 men present were Li Rawaxi's fans. Seeing everyone's merriment, Li Rawashi hesitated and asked softly, "You said someone put worm traps here earlier. What if others take them all?" At her words, the 6 faces sobered, and their gazes flickered. How sweetly naive. When there isn't even enough to fill a belly, in a few days you'll stop asking such questions. People will want to take everything. A Hui smiled wryly and said, "Rawashi, everyone's just trying to survive. Without food, well starve. But don't worry, we left a good amount in the pit, right lads?" "Left? Huh. There are a few torn stockings at best." The other 4 men grinned inwardly and reassured her aloud. "Don't worry, Rawashi, there's still plenty of seafood below. We haven't taken much. Even if 10 more people came, there would still be enough." Li Rawashi was their idol. They were keen to help preserve her immaculate image. To meet and endure hardship with her, and perhaps win her favor, would make their lives fulfilled, they thought. Very well. Li Rawashi nodded. After all, as a celebrity, she had to mind her words and actions. The question had been offhand. She was no fool. In this environment, securing food was paramount. Food not only filled the belly but could be traded for other goods. Even if they left it, someone else would seize it. Yet she needed to preserve her pure genteel image. Who admires a selfish woman? Truth be told, she did not want to remain here. Last night's sand pit had been unbearable. The early morning sea breeze chilled her to the bone. Her delicate features had gone pale. If not to curry favor with 5 fans who had survival skills, she would never have come to suffer. As they stowed the seafood in their packs and turned, a remarkably handsome young man approached from a distance. Even worldly Li Ruashi could not help admiring this ordinary, yet strikingly handsome fellow. But when he spoke, it caused Hui and the others to narrow their brows. Those worm traps over there were my doing. Hui, stopping in his tracks and seeing the newcomer alone, sneered. Handsome man, this isn't your territory. First come, first served, right? The plump woman, wary of a hue's tone and eager to smooth things over for Li Ruaxi's sake, laughed and waved. Oh dear young man, don't worry. There's plenty more seafood. Why don't you come with us? Li Ruashi could use an able fisher. So that's Li Ruashi. Shen Yun had thought the pretty woman looked familiar. She was indeed a television star. Her face had been plastered on huge posters in the streets where he used to work. Li Ruashi noticed Shen Yun studying her and tucked a lock of hair behind her ear, smiling softly. Sir, why not join us? More hands would help. Shen Yun shook his head and walked off to one side. Li Ruaxi's smile stiffened. It was the first time she had been refused, and it left her slightly unsettled. When the newcomer appeared to know her identity and retreated, there was no point in pressing him. Let's go, she said, pulling her garments tighter as they hurried away. But when Hui and the others glanced back at Shen Yun, they found him peering through a telescope toward the spot where the worm traps had been set. The 5 exchanged looks and tightened their grips on their stone axes. A predatory light glinted in their eyes. If the newcomer misunderstood the situation, they would teach him a lesson. Just as they expected, an angry shout rose from behind them. Damn it! There's nothing left. They spun around and found someone lunging from behind a rock in a preemptive move. Kid, who are you cursing at? Mind your mouth. But before they could finish, they froze as if their throats had been gripped. Eyes wide, faces drained of color, at the sight of Shen Yun. He stood behind the rock, a rifle in hand, his face carved in iron as he thundered at the 7. Have some shame. A rifle. Panic seized them. They screamed and scattered. No. He'll hand over all the seafood. Help. I don't want to die. Li Ruashi, don't shoot. Rat-a-tat. A staccato of rounds spat from the suppressor-equipped rifle's muzzle. The muzzle only swept twice before the magazine was emptied. All 7, Li Ruashi and the others, were struck down, shrieking as they fell. The M4's brutal recoil numbed Shen Yun's hands and ached his shoulders. Heart racing, he forced down a rising panic, swapped magazines, and strode forward. I've been shot. Don't kill me. Hui, clutching his legs and crawling in the sand, shouted in terror as Shen Yun advanced with a cold face. None of them had expected this frail-looking youth to wield a firearm. Shen Yun paid him no heed, raking shots into Hui and the others until they lay dead. The M4's ferocity was overwhelming. Gunfights had looked thrilling in movies, but up close the weapon was exhausting to wield. Seeing Li Ruashi still breathing, Shen Yun pressed the barrel to her temple. Cough. Please don't kill me. I'll give you whatever you want. Blood bubbling at her lips, Li Ruashi ignored the scorching muzzle and wept, begging. She still had a future, a celebrity identity that could buy her comfort on the island. Shen Yun remained unmoved and squeezed the trigger. Bang! In the dull thunder of the shot, blood splashed and sand kicked up. Li Ruaxi's exquisite face was obliterated in an instant. In a mere breath, Li Ruashi was dead. Her corpse erupted with a number of seafood and items. Not just her, the other 6 corpses also yielded many items. Shen Yun took a deep breath to suppress his churning stomach, collected the supplies on the ground, and quickly left. On the dim beach, only 7 bloodied corpses remained. In the pit, Shen Yun counted the supplies he had previously gathered. Aside from some useless trinkets, the biggest finds were a small bag of insect powder and salt, as well as a 5-spice seasoning pack. The effect of the insect powder was still unknown, but salt was of utmost importance. With a 10,000-fold critical hit, whether it was seafood or these items, Shen Yun had plenty and needn't worry at all. Fortunately, the other party did not acquire firearms. Shen Yun secretly rejoiced. The reason he did not take direct action was that he feared Li Ruashi and her team might have obtained firearms. He could have a rifle, the others might have collected a lot of seafood as well. If a fight broke out over some seafood, it would be reckless to risk his life. Moreover, Shen Yun had no intention of killing at that time. After all, he was not an urban assassin, nor was he a reborn overlord. Directly killing someone still bore pressure for him. Since the other side claimed there was still plenty of seafood left, Shen Yun decided to play it safe, planning to wait for an opportunity to get his revenge later. But these guys claimed that there was still more. How could they have taken everything without leaving a trace? As the saying goes, one should leave a line for others to meet again in the future. He did not want to stir up trouble, yet they came at him with a ruthless scheme. Enough was enough. It was only then that he hid behind a rock and shot them all down. Just thinking about the expressions of the seven before their deaths made Shen Yun's stomach churn. He quickly dispelled the images in his mind and took out a piece of gum to calm his nerves. By now the sky was gradually brightening, but many were noticing. In the distance, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and the sea was not as calm as the previous day. The waves were enormous. Quickly search for seafood while the tide is out. People rising from the pit scattered in groups. Shen Yun headed into the dense forest, intending to test the efficacy of the insect powder. However, not long after, a series of exclamations from the beach attracted everyone's attention. "Hey, what's that?" Following the direction pointed by someone, the survivors on the island all gazed toward the distant sea. They saw a white line connecting heaven and earth, a spectacular sight. Hiss! Holy crap! A water spout! Shen Yun quickly took out his binoculars and adjusted the magnification to observe. Above the water spout, dark clouds gathered and lightning flashed. He could vaguely see small branches from surrounding islands being sucked into the vortex. Branches! Shen Yun observed intently, suddenly narrowing his pupils. This is a tree being... The people around him through the chat box for traversers finally understood what was happening. It's a massive sea tornado. The island ahead has already been destroyed. So many have died. Run. In an instant, screams erupted all over the beach. After hesitating for a moment, everyone armed with stone axes and tools rushed into the dense forest. If they could find a cave or similar hiding spot in the mountains, they might escape this calamity. If they stayed on the beach without any shelter from the wind, they would surely be swept away. The crowd rushed, chaotically armed with their implements, charging into the woods to clear a path. Shen Yun lagged behind, applying the insect powder all over himself. Simultaneously, he observed the ground, sprinkling some powder to see the effect. In the dense forest, a venomous snake. This is a killer spider. Everyone stay back. One bite could kill an elephant. A series of screams made the survivors in the forest even more frantic. But the sea breeze had already swept into the forest, making everyone too fearful to stop. Suddenly, a dust-covered young man wielding a stone axe charged out of the crowd like a warrior. Even with poisonous insects in the woods, he showed no fear, running at full speed. Seeing the crowd ahead was somewhat congested, Shen Yun shouted, "Everyone make way. I'm here to lead the way." "Good lad, so fierce. Who is this person?" The crowd quickly made way, admiration written all over their faces. Some girls were especially captivated by Shen Yun's handsome and resolute appearance. In a world fraught with danger, was there truly such a fearless hero? Is he crazy to still dare to run around at a time like this? Probably. Who cares, just keep up. Seeing him run far, the others quickly followed. Shen Yun sprinted wildly, his hands waving the insect powder back and forth like a third-rate martial artist. Wherever he passed, the poisonous insects avoided him and were utterly defeated. After his previous experiment, he discovered that the insect powder was incredibly effective. No matter what kind of insect came into contact with it, they would scatter in panic. Even the colorful venomous snakes, upon smelling it, would tremble and foam at the mouth. If I was hiding in a cave and the sea tornado caused a landslide to block it? Running wildly, Shen Yun looked towards the mountain ahead, feeling anxious. If he suffocated, it would be dangerous. Let's survive this calamity first. Suppressing his worries, Shen Yun dashed into the dense forest towards the mountain peak, while keeping an eye on the content in the chat box, hoping the tornado would change direction. However, one message made his eyes light up. "Zhao Ritian, is anyone selling house fragments? 1 piece can be exchanged for 20 sea bream. 5 starfish. Zhang Biao, I am the CEO of Paradise Real Estate. Purchasing house fragments, permanent food supply. A businessman values honesty. Zheng Jiangwo, I am the mayor of Songlong City, still need 3 house fragments. Is there a comrade willing to lend a hand? I will personally thank you after the event. House fragments." Shen Yun quickly sent a purchase message. Shen Yun purchasing house fragments, 50 stone crabs, 2 octopuses, a bag of salt, a bottle of 250 milliliters mineral water. The quantity of food was just right, but the bag of salt and mineral water was a perfect touch. Indeed, as soon as Shen Yun sent it, his inbox was flooded with over 20 messages. Obviously, not everywhere faced a sea tornado. So many people collecting fragments must mean it's not just a small wooden house, otherwise it wouldn't withstand the sea tornado. He quickly clicked to see. Island No. 10086, Qin Chongqing, 1 house fragment attached. House fragment, a piece of a sturdy iron house that can withstand storms, tornadoes, and beast attacks. Collect 5 pieces to merge into an iron house. Shen Yun felt a surge of joy in his heart, quickly placing the trading items he had previously sent on Qin Chongqing's email, and clicked agree. Moments later, the other party accepted. When a house fragment appeared in his backpack, the system notification rang out, "Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 house fragment, triggering a 10,000-fold critical hit to obtain 10,000 house fragments." Shen Yun hurriedly took 5 fragments and clicked to synthesize, and an iron house model appeared in his backpack. "Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering a 10,000-fold critical hit, obtaining 10,000 iron house models." Wow, is this really possible? Shen Yun grinned. He didn't expect that synthesizing could also trigger a 10,000-fold critical hit. Seeing that the mountain path was uneven and unable to place it, he turned and ran towards a nearby open area. Run. The wind is getting stronger. Hurry. Even the poisonous insects are retreating. We need to find a cave to hide in. Whoosh. The strong sea wind rustled the leaves. A large amount of rain began to fall from the sky. Among them, many fish even fell onto the island. In the chaos, the crowd paid no attention to the seafood on the ground. They were blown around and just wanted to find a safe area to shield themselves from the wind. The gale grew stronger. Even in the woods, the sound of branches snapping echoed ominously. What a strong wind. Shen Yun, tightly hugging a large tree, squinted his eyes, not daring to waste time looking for open spaces. He quickly scanned the surroundings and confirmed there was a clear area before hastily opening his character's backpack and pointing place iron house. Swish. A gray house with a triangular roof appeared beside him. Not daring to hesitate, Shen Yun grasped the doorknob and struggled to open the door before rushing inside. Bang! The door was slammed shut by the fierce wind. Phew! Finally safe. Shen Yun sighed in relief, lying on the ground. Wiping his cold sweat, he looked around and found the house was only 10 square meters with one bed, one bench, and one dining table. A series of branches crashing onto the roof made a raucous noise, but fortunately the iron house was strong. Looking up at the ceiling, Shen Yun suddenly saw a prompt message. Friendly reminder: the current iron house is level 1. Can be upgraded to level 2 with 100 fragments. Super iron house, highest level. Super iron house defense, space, weight, and foundation stability all increased tenfold. Small features: solar charging, fingerprint authentication to open the door, water heater. It can be upgraded. Shen Yun was overjoyed, directly pulling out over 100 house fragments to use with one click. Swish. The entire iron house trembled slightly, and the space instantly expanded. The sound of branches hitting the roof became faint. Such a sense of security. Shen Yun smiled and got up, surveying the place before heading towards the bathroom. These past 2 days in a new environment had been exhausting. It's just right to take a hot shower, have a meal, and get a good night's sleep. The tin shack contained few items, only a small bottle each of shower gel and shampoo. Yet for Shen Yun, everything triggered a 10,000-fold critical surge. After scavenging all supplies from the bathroom, Shen Yun turned on the faucet and luxuriated in a warm shower. Outside, gales howled and torrential rain lashed the land. Weeds and broken branches whirled violently through the air, an eerie, terrifying spectacle. Thank heavens the structure is sturdy, Shen Yun murmured, wiping water from his skin, when suddenly a bloodied hand slammed against the window. The sudden sight jolted him rigid. Someone's there. He stepped closer and saw a woman clinging to the downspout, cradling a small boy as she pounded desperately on the glass. Her clothes were torn, her body crisscrossed with gaseous streaks of dried blood and thick mud. Clearly, reaching this shelter had cost her dearly. Behind her, a man hung impaled upon a snapped branch, his neck pierced, his unblinking eyes fixed vacantly upon the tin shack. Elsewhere on the ground, a young woman clung to a tree trunk, her head bowed low under the hurricane's force. The woman at the window, spotting Shen Yun, cried out in frantic relief, "Save us. Please, save us." Seeing Shen Yun's slight frown, hesitation etched plainly across his brow, she could wait no longer. The wind was intensifying by the second. If they delayed, any further death was certain. Without hesitation, she snatched a paired syringe from her backpack and shook it vigorously. "Take this. Take it. Please save us." Physical enhancement serum. Owner Lin Yuran. In effect, grants 3 physical attribute upon use. A consumable like this actually exists. A spark of delight flared in Shen Yun's mind. He pressed the fingerprint-activated switch beside the window, and as it slid open, a violent gust roared inward. Shen Yun accepted the syringe from Lin Yuran, and instantly a chime echoed within his consciousness, ending. "Congratulations, host. You have acquired physical enhancement serum, triggering a 10,000-fold critical surge reward, 100 vials. I wonder how many doses one person can safely administer." Musing, Shen Yun withdrew a single vial from his system space and injected it into his forearm. The moment the needle withdrew, a thunderous notification stunned him motionless, ending. Host has administered physical enhancement serum, gaining 3 physical attribute, triggering 10,000-fold critical surge, 300 physical attribute points. What the hell? That's even possible. Shen Yun's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. His base attributes, physical agility, strength, and mental capacity, had each stood at 10, 30,000 points, utterly unimaginable. In that very instant, boom. A deep, resonant detonation erupted within his body, his skin flushed crimson. Water from the shower head vaporized instantly upon contact, billowing forth in dense white steam. System notice: transmigrator. Shen Yun has shattered physical limits, unlocked genetic locks, awakened latent human potential, elevated all attributes to peak capacity, and transcended the ultimate boundary of physical evolution. Current physical attribute 30000. Further administration of physical enhancement serum is now prohibited. In effect, absolute immunity to all damage inflicted by contemporary civilization whose defense, resilience, endurance, and toughness elevated to their absolute zenith. Immunity to all damage from current civilization. Merely reading that line conveyed its staggering might, truly awe-inspiring beyond measure. Shen Yun clenched his fists. The weariness he'd felt moments before vanished entirely. His spirit soared, his vitality surged, his body thrummed with inexhaustible power. Seeing Lin Yuran and the boy clinging helplessly to the downspout buffeted by the gale, Shen Yun pulled on his trousers and reached out to tap her shoulder firmly. Get inside. Bring the child in first. Lin Yuran hurriedly passed the boy to Shen Yun, then turned and shouted toward the girl still gripping the tree, Su Xiuyan. Hold on. I'm coming for you right away. Whether the girl heard her or not remained unclear, but Lin Yuran swiftly retrieved a length of hemp rope from her inventory and thrust it through the window. Sir, please secure this. I must go save her. Shen Yun offered no objection. Taking the rope, he found a welded iron bar and fastened it securely. Let Lin Yuran rescue her. Were he the helpless girl, he too would pray for such timely salvation. It was only human nature. Don't stay here. The rope snapping could kill you. Shen Yun waved dismissively at the sobbing child seated on the floor. If the rope failed to recoil, would be lethally violent. He himself felt no concern. After all, he was invincible. Even a nuclear blast would hold no terror. Thank you, big brother. The boy wiped his tears, staggered upright, and peered outside, though his height proved insufficient. Noticing the boy had neither cried for help nor lingered in the bathroom, Shen Yun deduced his background was far from ordinary. His perceptiveness and emotional intelligence were exceptionally refined. An orphan since childhood, he'd learned early when to speak and what words carried weight. By now, Lin Yuran had already dragged the dazed girl back step by grueling step. A woman capable of such stamina and resolve must have consumed physical enhancement serum. Shen Yun extended his hand and hauled the girl inside. Aside from pallor and violent shivering from cold, she suffered no serious injury. Thank you, she whispered even as she and Shen Yun together pulled Lin Yuran through the narrow opening. Having tumbled repeatedly, Lin Yuran's tattered garments left her utterly disheveled as she was dragged across the threshold. Ignoring her own state, she rose quickly and bowed deeply. Thank you, sir. My name is Lin Yuran. Shen Yun waved her off, cutting short the introduction, and turned to rinse away the grime when the storm passes leave and clean the bathroom thoroughly. To him, this was merely a transaction, concluded then forgotten. No need for names or bonds. Watching him walk away, Lin Yuran and Su Xiuyan exchanged a glance, both faces shadowed with quiet resignation. Most would naturally wish to remain in this sanctuary, yet Shen Yun had refused without hesitation. Su Xiuyan murmured softly, Sister Yuran, at least we're safe, for now. Lin Yuran nodded, gaze drifting to the window, just in time to witness a colossal gale surge forward, lifting ancient trees skyward as if they were mere twigs. Yet the tin shack stood unmoved, unshaken, unyielding. This house is astonishingly robust, they breathed in unison, astonishment plain upon their faces. But the thought of departing once the winds ceased cast a heavy pall over their spirits. The ferocious cyclone raged for half a day before finally dissipating. Survivors emerged, cautiously surveying the ravaged island with dread. Towering trees lay splintered, meadows were gouged into cratered wastelands. Bodies lay scattered across the debris, frozen in grotesque, contorted postures. Their grisly end struck horror into every onlooker. As some began gathering storm-washed seafood, others suppressed nausea and fanned out to scavenge whatever supplies remained. Outside the tin shack, Lin Yuran faced Shen Yun with sincere gratitude. Thank you, sir. May I add you as a contact? Should I acquire anything else, I'll reach out to you immediately. Though she couldn't stay, Shen Yun had built this shelter and lived here alone, surrounded by abundant seafood. He was undoubtedly a master survivalist, highly skilled, profoundly capable. Lin Yuran naturally wished to forge a stronger connection with him. At this moment, Lin Yuran, after cleaning herself up, revealed the exquisite features of a modern city beauty. Coupled with her alluring curves, she was undeniably eye-catching. Her identity was also not simple. She was the president of the Hangqing Beauty Group. The little boy beside her was named Xiao Hao, who had suffered severe nuclear contamination in reality and had entered this alternate world with his father, hoping to earn rewards to reduce his bodily pollution. Su Xiuyan was a high school student with a pure and charming appearance and an exceptional aura that evoked affection. When she looked at Shen Yun, her gaze was filled with admiration and gratitude toward the strong. In Shen Yun's room, they enjoyed a long-awaited hot shower, were invited to a barbecue seafood feast, and had an extremely restful sleep. However, upon waking, the sensation of separation from the warm blankets filled Su Xiuyan with reluctance. She had thought that after both had showered and revealed their stunning beauty, this young man would keep them around. After all, when Yuran had displayed her 36D assets earlier, the boy's reaction had been quite apparent. Even if the worst outcome was becoming his woman for over 20 days, Shen Yun could accept it. The environment indeed alters one's perceptions, especially in a terrifying scene filled with corpses. But what she did not expect was that Shen Yun merely invited them for a meal and a chat only to send them away as soon as the wind died down. He had no intention of keeping them, which left Shen Yun feeling inexplicably disappointed. No need. Shen Yun shook his head, closed the door, and walked toward the dense forest. Lin Yuren's polite remarks did not linger in his mind. If something truly valuable existed, he would use it himself right away. Lin Yuren was clearly leaving behind a potion for emergencies. Seeing him leave to search for supplies, the three of them dared not linger. There were still many seafood and supplies blown down by the tornado on the ground. If they moved slowly, there would be nothing left for them. Danger often accompanies opportunity. A powerful tornado had blown a large amount of seafood ashore, much to the delight of the survivors on the nearby islands. This would be their food supply for the coming days. Shen Yun was not worried about food, nor did he have a high demand for hot weapons. For him, the most important thing now was how to raise his score. This was related to the rewards for returning to Blue Star. However, after wandering in the forest for a long time, Shen Yun found no hints. Instead, he picked up a few types of seafood and hit a jackpot with a single item. Looking at the ravaged forest before him, he frowned slightly. Surviving for 30 days, especially on an island. This should not be difficult for someone with a bit of experience. If I want to stand out, I should live better and easier than others. Shen Yun felt that his speculation held a high system. What do you think? Replying to the host, the system has no authority to interfere or influence the host's judgment. The host should act as he wishes. Well, that was a wasted question. However, Shen Yun was quite satisfied with the system's setup. Unlike the novels he had read before, where systems assigned mandatory tasks and failure led to dire consequences, creating a heavy sense of pressure, his system, on the other hand, simply provided him with a golden finger and allowed him to operate freely without needing to chase performance metrics. Seeing an older man picking up seafood nearby, Shen Yun took out a cigarette from his pocket. Snap! The sound of the lighter igniting seemed ingrained in the old man's DNA. As soon as it sounded, he instinctively looked up. Even before seeing the person, a fragrant aroma wafted in the air. Hiss! The old man inhaled deeply, savoring the moment, then smiled at Shen Yun, saying, "Little brother, this scent is definitely a huazi. I'll give you this fish in exchange." As he spoke, he shook the small yellow fish in his hand with confidence. "You're quite the smoker, old man. That's a good..." Shen Yun casually tossed a cigarette to him. "Oh wow." The old man instantly grinned widely, quickly wiping his hands and gingerly accepting it, his face filled with gratitude. "Thanks, little brother. I'll give you this fish. Just enjoy a smoke with me." Shen Yun waved his hand, and this relaxed show-off gesture drew the attention of nearby smokers, all of whom were eyeing him with longing. Especially some older folks who quietly approached the two, taking a few puffs of secondhand smoke as a bonus. Shen Yun glanced at the envious crowd around and chuckled as he flicked the cigarette. "But I'm leaving, old man." Did he really think he was some kind of benefactor? Shen Yun himself didn't smoke much. He was just putting on a show in front of everyone. Unfortunately, he didn't activate any hints to gain score values, and staying here had little meaning now. "Little brother, your fish," the old man called out with a cigarette in his mouth. Seeing the young smoker he had just met not even turn his head, the old man smiled knowingly. Smokers do not distinguish between rich and poor, meeting his fate. However, in reality, he wouldn't dare accept a cigarette from a stranger. "It seems the scores won't be displayed directly. Now that I have cigarettes, I need to get some wine and food." Walking through the forest, Shen Yun opened the chat box and sent a message. "Shen Yun, 2 cigarettes for a bottle of red wine or a serving of cooked food fruit. To live well, fine wine and delicacies are essential." In no time, a group of old smokers flooded Shen Yun's inbox, bringing it to over 99 messages. Opening the inbox, he selected different islands to purchase supplies. Red wine, steamed dumplings, braised duck heads, chicken feet, and apple, and more were all traded one by one. Under the enhancement of the golden finger, each item was directly multiplied by 10,000. "This is really refreshing." Shen Yun grinned widely and looked around at the environment. The sea tornado was undoubtedly powerful, as the surrounding forest had been stripped of branches, with some even uprooted, creating a chaotic scene. "Who?" Suddenly, a low growl filled with pressure from a beast echoed in Shen Yun's ears. He turned his head to look toward the source of the sound. Not far away, he spotted a gray wolf standing on a broken branch, baring its teeth and growling at him. On the ground lay 2 blood-soaked wolves feasting on a corpse. "My." Shen Yun raised an eyebrow, only to see behind the 3 wolves there was a box emitting a faint white. He took a few steps forward and finally saw the information about the box item: all-purpose box, ownerless item. All-purpose box can produce any supplies. A supply box. Shen Yun's eyes lit up. Not needing supplies was one thing, but the thrill of opening a mystery box was just the perfect leisurely activity for him. But the 3 wolves charged at him as soon as he took a few steps closer. Daring to approach while they were eating, they decided to make this two-legged monster into a tasty snack. The three wolves intended to test him, but upon seeing the two-legged monster rushing at them, they could not hold back. Roar, just in time to test my strength. As the gray wolf lunged at him, a glint of sharpness flashed in Shen Yun's eyes, and he threw a punch at its nose. The next moment, snap, this gray wolf turned into a mist of blood. The remaining two gray wolves were shocked, their feet freezing in place, tails tucked between their legs. Shen Yun stepped forward and grabbed one. He planned to take a few wolves back to raise them. Seeing the gray wolf struggling to bite him, Shen Yun slapped it on the top of its head. Be quiet. With a crisp crack, the gray wolf's skull split, and it died on the spot. Oh, that was a bit too much strength. Shen Yun awkwardly tossed the wolf's corpse aside and looked at the other gray wolf, which was staring wide-eyed and trembling all over. If it could talk, it would surely exclaim, "What kind of monster is this?" Fortunately, its animal instincts allowed it to regain its composure. It quickly laid down with its belly exposed, showing its soft underbelly to Shen Yun. This creature was writhing its body and limbs as if trying to please him. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for taming a female wolf, which can be trained as a partner to hunt prey. Not bad, you know how to be smart. Shen Yun smiled as he tucked the female wolf under his arm and quickly approached the treasure chest to collect it. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a treasure chest, triggering a 10,000-fold critical hit and gaining 10,000 treasure chests. Hey, this is awesome. Shen Yun took out a supply box, placed it on the ground, and opened it. Whoosh! A flash of white light and items flew out of the box, landing on the ground. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for obtaining a camping tent, a Swiss Army knife, a windproof lighter, a military pot, a compound bow with 10 arrows, and half a kilogram of raw beef. All 5 items were extremely practical, and of course the system was generous, delivering a 10,000-fold critical hit. With a 10,000-fold golden finger, it's like a vacation. Shen Yun smiled as he collected the supplies, but noticed the she-wolf beside him looking up towards the distance. Ahead, a massive white wolf was hiding among the broken wood, its gaze coldly fixed on Shen Yun. Awoot! Awoo! Seeing the two wolves begin to communicate, Shen Yun patted the she-wolf's head, waved towards the white wolf ahead, and whispered, "You let them come over, I'll take care of it." While speaking, he took out 100 gene of beef and tossed it on the ground with a pat. One wolf wasn't enough. He wanted to raise a whole pack of wolves to guard the place. He didn't know if the she-wolf understood his gestures, but it kept howling insistently. Fortunately, not long after, gray wolves began to gather, jumping onto the surrounding broken wood, showing their teeth and growling. The massive white wolf king seemed to sense that the she-wolf was a traitor and charged towards Shen Yun with all its might. Unfortunately for it, after Shen Yun's genetic traits were unlocked, both his defense and physical coordination had reached their peak. As the wolf king lunged at him, Shen Yun casually reached out and grabbed the wolf king by the neck, lifting it up effortlessly. The intense feeling of suffocation made the wolf king whimper immediately. This terrified the surrounding gray wolves, who tucked their tails between their legs. It was their first time hearing their leader wail. How could they not be afraid? Shen Yun looked at all the gray wolves present and saw them shrinking back cautiously. Only then did he loosen his grip and step on the white wolf's belly. Having narrowly escaped, the white wolf dared not show its teeth anymore, panting and collapsing on the ground, not daring to resist at all. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for taming the 9,527th island white wolf pack, consisting of 16 male wolves, 7 female wolves, and 8 wolf pups. Easy peasy. Shen Yun tossed a piece of meat to the wolf king, seeing it roll over to grab it, showing good sense. Then Shen Yun began to feed the other gray wolves, causing them to gulp down the food ravenously. Feeling a bit hungry himself, Shen Yun quickly made a fire to cook some beef and prepare a fruit platter. After eating and drinking to his fill, it was already dusk. Shen Yun patted the white wolf king and said, "Bring your subordinates over. From now on they will guard my home. Do you understand?" Nod your head. Surprisingly, the white wolf king actually nodded twice. Oh, Shen Yun laughed as he patted the wolf king's soft fur. He didn't expect this wolf king to be so intelligent. All right, I'll take the she-wolf with me. Just follow the sound of giving the wolf king's head a gentle rub. Shen Yun stood up, carrying the she-wolf back the way he came. Outside the super iron house, a crowd of over 100 people was discussing excitedly, "What the hell? Why is this iron house so much larger than everyone else's? It even has a bathroom. I haven't showered in ages. Too bad no one can open it. The foundation is too deep." A man looked at the pit dug by others near the house and shook his head. The defenses of this iron house were formidable. Even a stone axe couldn't leave a mark on it. Even the surrounding broken trees did no harm to it, indicating its incredible sturdiness. Moreover, peering through the windows, one could see a bathroom, water heater, bedroom, etc., making it very tempting. If one could stay inside, it would be much more comfortable than sleeping on the ground. Upgrading costs 100 fragments. Someone must have opened a universal treasure chest. The young man speaking was visibly envious. Many people in the chat channel had already obtained universal boxes, and all the items inside were highly practical. I heard someone even opened a pirate ship and hot weapons. I'm so envious. I wonder who got this iron house. When those words were spoken, everyone noticed that the sky was getting darker and hurriedly urged, yeah, come out and show yourself. Are you afraid we'll rob you? This house is probably 100 square meters, but can accommodate quite a few people. Can we rent it using supplies? Outside the crowd, Lin Yuan and Su Xiuyan were also observing. They wanted to see that handsome young man and whether there were any conditions to join him. After all, staying outside was too dangerous, especially at night. When they were women, the risks were too high. Just then a melodious wolf howl echoed from the mountain forest behind. Everyone was startled and turned back in unison. They saw a pack of gray wolves emerging from the chaotic forest, jumping onto the surrounding broken wood and high stones. The dimming light made the wolves' eyes gleam with a green glow which sent chills down everyone's spine. Roar! When a majestic large white wolf charged down from the mountain, everyone was terrified to the core. It's a wolf pack. Run for your lives? At that moment they wished they could grow 2 more legs. Did he get eaten? Su Xiuyan whispered, her face pale. I don't know. Lin Yuan turned back to look at the wolf pack, while holding Xiaohao, discovering that the wolves had already rushed forward and they were sprinting again. As Shen Yun descended the mountain, seeing everyone scatter like birds and beasts, he smiled slightly, while petting the little white wolf in his hand. Not bad, this really saves trouble. Without the wolf pack, even with a gun, he might encounter stubborn people and face moral coercion. In that case, he would have no choice but to resort to killing or intimidation. With the wolf pack, it was much easier. Just let them roar a few times and everything would be fine. The Wolf King received the command to disperse and drove everyone away before leading the pack back to the iron house. Shen Yun saw the Wolf King staring at the little white wolf in his hand, placed the little creature on the ground, and smiled. For now you all guard it for me, don't let anyone get close. Grr. The Wolf King lowered its head and whimpered as if in response. Once Shen Yun entered the house, it cautiously stepped forward, licking its little wolf pup. Confirming that the pup was unharmed, the Wolf King raised its head and howled, and the wolf pack quickly scattered to patrol the territory. Inside the room, Shen Yun sat in the living room and opened the character backpack. 10,000 universal treasure chests. Shen Yun rubbed his hands together, grinning. Let's open 5,000 first to test it out. And without further ado, he was extravagantly generous. After setting the number of treasure chests to 500, he raised his hand and pointed, one-click opening. Whoosh. In an instant, his 100-slot character backpack was filled. The excess items were absorbed into the system before they could even touch the ground. Congratulations to Shen Yun for obtaining Tang Hungdao, a pirate ship, a GNI Tai, May single speaker Peking duck, a red artillery, a wireless intercom, a pack of spicy strips, climbing gear. A series of notifications made Shen Yun's scalp tingle. He quickly turned off the notification sounds, and the system's voice echoed in his mind again. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining universal box supplies, triggering a 10,000-fold critical hit, resulting in 10,000 Tang Hungdao, 10,000 pirate ships, and 10,000 GNI Tai May single speakers. Fortunately, the system was considerate and gave Shen Yun a summary. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 23762 types of supplies, totaling 30 trillion tons. Incredible. Shen Yun listened in astonishment. This golden finger was indeed outrageous. Even if someone else were to use it, they would still fly up easily. Shen Yun was secretly amazed. Answering the host, it is impossible. Only the host has activated the system after crossing twice. No one else can compare to you. The invisible flattery was the most lethal. Shen Yun was secretly delighted, but maintained a serious demeanor. System, you're going too far with that. There are countless travelers. I'm just a bit luckier. Host luck is also a part of strength. No need to be mocked. If it were someone else, they might have already ended up in the jaws of a beast. Huh. Not at all, you're still impressive. It's all thanks to the host. The system is just a green leaf. Shen Yun, who was exchanging compliments with the system, mentally counted the practical supplies. Currently, Shen Yun has no worries about supplies, possesses immense strength, and has no tasks from the other world. He spends his days in a tin house living a leisurely life. His daily activities consist of either opening boxes to gather supplies or indulging in delicious food. Alternatively, he plays with the little white wolf, taking the wolf pack for strolls. As long as he survives on the island for 30 days, what else is there to do besides show off? He wishes to exercise, but unfortunately his physique is too powerful. Even after doing push-ups for an entire morning, he feels no fatigue, rendering it useless. However, practicing shooting has become part of Shen Yun's daily routine these days. Compared to his peaceful life, most of the islands have descended into chaos. On the 5th day of crossing over, everyone is still holding on. But by the 8th day, hunger compels people to venture deep into the mountains in search of food. The number of survivor fatalities drastically increases at this moment. By the 16th day, some have already begun to kill for supplies. On the 20th day, when people are at their most desperate, the roots, stems, and leaves of plants, even the foul-smelling seafood washed ashore, all become food for them. Many have succumbed to poisoning, bloating, and abdominal pain. Moreover, a cannibal incident has erupted on Island 666, while causing widespread panic. Cannibalism. This undoubtedly has a tremendous impact on people's worldview. Yet in the absence of food, even if one is unwilling to resort to cannibalism, they may still find their corpse targeted by others. Of course, there are also individuals with exceptional organizational skills. They use their personal charisma to establish communal potluck gatherings in the early stages. Surviving on such islands is undoubtedly fortunate. Some people also share various survival strategies for island living, enhancing everyone's survival capabilities. Others have acquired pirate ships and firearms, asserting dominance on the island. Especially some pirate ships. Wherever they go, it's as if bandits have raided a village, committing all sorts of atrocities. It can only be described as horrific. Only 5 days left. Shen Yun, holding an M4, takes aim at a branch 100 meters away. His powerful physique grants him balance and stability, enabling him to hit every shot without fail. As for moving targets, they are a piece of cake. Compared to his earlier days, he has already left the ranks of novice shooters, now qualifying as a sharpshooter. At this moment, Shen Yun has changed into a set of climbing pants, a fitted vest, and black boots. His bronze skin, combined with the rifle in his hands and the 3 dozing wolves beside him, makes him appear exceptionally formidable. At that moment, a mournful cry echoed from the distant forest. The 3 wolves who had been dozing suddenly sprang up and howled with their heads raised. Whoa. Is something wrong? Shen Yun's expression stiffened as he took out his binoculars. He saw 2 gray wolves dragging the body of the Wolf King, racing towards him from the nearby forest. Following them, there were also several injured wolves trailing closely behind. Oh, whoa. The little white wolf beside Shen Yun immediately darted out. A crossbow. Upon seeing the crossbow arrows on the White Wolf King, he hurried forward to investigate. A total of 7 arrows had struck the White Wolf King, one of which had pierced directly through its heart. The arrow, as thick as a thumb, was a tri-blade type. It's hopeless. Shen Yun's anger flared as he exclaimed, "Did I not tell you to run if there was danger?" As he spoke, he took out a physique potion, only to find it unusable by non-humans. At this point, the White Wolf King had lost its former vigor, panting heavily and staring blankly at the little white wolf and Shen Yun. When Shen Yun saw the wolf pack dragging back the bodies of their fallen comrades, he finally realized. The Wolf King did not attack him due to the betrayal of a female wolf. It was because he had killed the gray wolves that the White Wolf King chose to attack. With so many gray wolves dead, how could it, as the Wolf King, possibly run away? The Wolf King has its own principles. Submitting to Shen Yun is also for the sake of protecting the wolf pack. How nice it would be to keep the Green Mountains. Ah, foolish man. Shen Yun sighed softly, wiping away the tears from the Wolf King's eyes, and spoke in a low voice, "Rest assured, I will not harm it. We outsiders will leave the island soon, I promise." Upon hearing this, the Wolf King appeared deflated, its rising chest slowly sinking. It weakly licked Shen Yun's palm, and its eyes lost all signs of life. "Awoo! Awoo!" One by one the wolves began to howl, tears glistening in their eyes. As soon as Shen Yun stood up, he saw 2 disheveled wild people emerging from the nearby forest. Seeing that the 2 men carried only stone axes and no bows or crossbows, Shen Yun, with his gun readied, coldly shouted, "Who killed the White Wolf King?" Most people on Island 9527 are aware. The owner of the tin house here has trained a pack of wild wolves. Being able to train a wolf pack is no small feat. Under normal circumstances, no one would want to provoke him. Shen Yun suspects that it might be the local powers on the island preparing to hunt the wolf pack for food. He hasn't ventured out much, relying entirely on the chat box for information about the outside world, and is not clear about the power dynamics on Island 9527. Before the 2 could respond, Shen Yun saw a dirty little child emerge from the bushes. "Is it you?" Shen Yun approached, astonished. After more than 10 days without seeing them, Lin Yuran and Su Xiuyan, these 2 beautiful women, have turned into wild people. Seeing that he recognized her, Lin Yuran sighed in relief, and quickly said, "The ones who attacked are the Skeleton King pirates. They have begun to raid Island 9527. We have been living outside the patrol area of the wolf pack and saw them use powerful crossbows to shoot the wolves." The Skeleton King pirates. A cold glint flashed in Shen Yun's eyes. This pirate group is the most powerful presence among the 30 or so islands nearby. The Skeleton King ship not only travels fast and has a sturdy hull, but also boasts 12 cannons on either side. Ordinary pirate ships would not dare to offend them. Moreover, the Skeleton King has 3 escort ships and more than 10 fast boats following, totaling nearly 1,000 people, an immensely powerful force. Shen Yun took out a monocular thermal imager from his backpack and donned it. He then pulled out a large pineapple and charged into the forest. "Don't act impulsively. They have many people." Lin Yuran and Su Xiuyan shouted anxiously. The opposing side had once saved their lives, and such impulsiveness could lead to irreversible consequences. But Shen Yun did not look back, swiftly disappearing into the forest. "Only a few days left, and you still don't want to settle down." A murderous intent flickered in Shen Yun's eyes. Although the Wolf King's group was his temporary henchmen, they were diligent in their duties. With so many little brothers slain, as their temporary big brother, he had to send some people down to accompany the wolf pack. Since you don't plan to settle down. As Shen Yun burst out of the forest, he spotted over 10 pirates wearing white skull bandanas by a stream and immediately pulled the triggers of his dual guns, growling fiercely, "Then I will send all of you to the heavens." Data. The moment the gunfire erupted, the pirates by the stream quickly scattered and leaped away, clearly experienced in combat. However, Shen Yun's aim was too steady. The recoil was virtually non-existent against his physique. With such a human form and no recoil advantage, where could they possibly hide? Puff, puff, puff. A series of bullets struck the pirates by the stream, and their cries of agony echoed. A burly man hit multiple times in the abdomen glared angrily at the figure in the forest wearing the thermal imager and roared, "Damn it. We are the Skeleton King's men. You are seeking death. Puff. You will regret this. The Skeleton King will capture your people and light them up. Oh, don't kill me. I didn't do anything. I was forced to join." Amidst the screams, a woman frantically crawled away, clutching her injured leg. She had never encountered someone with such steady aim. In just a few breaths, 6 or 7 people had died. But from the corner of her eye, she saw 2 bullet trajectories swiftly approaching, zipping past her head. Puff. In the muffled sound, the woman's head erupted in a spray of red and white. In less than a minute, all 16 pirates present were slain. Shen Yun vanished into the forest. On the sandy shore of Island No. 9527, a pirate wearing a cloth mask brandished a whip, lashing at a man kneeling in the sand. "Damn it. Are you hiding supplies? If not, I'll kill you and loot you on the spot." 60 or 70 ragged, listless captives knelt across the beach, enduring kicks and lashes from passing pirates without resistance. They had long since exhausted whatever supplies they possessed. Only the weakest, too feeble to flee, had been captured. Murder for loot was arbitrary and futile to resist. These pirates wielded crossbows and rifles. Escape was impossible. At that moment, a pirate approached the red bandana-clad captain, who stood smoking nonchalantly, and chuckled nervously. "Captain, only 3 among them are virgins." "Ugly as sin," he added. The captain spat smoke, scowling. "Have I fallen under some cosmic curse? 3 islands in a row. No spoils, no profit, nothing but sand and despair." His subordinate leaned in, whispering with a sly grin. "Well, Captain, 3 is still 3. Why not seize the auspicious omen? Red fortune ascendant. A little ritual to dispel the ill luck." "Shut your damn mouth." The captain slapped the back of his henchman's skull. "If even you starving for scraps call them ugly, then what hope is there for anyone to touch them? Now get the hell out of my sight." He flicked away his cigarette, but raised his rifle and bellowed at the kneeling crowd, "Separate the valuable ones, the attractive ones, and bring them forward." A chorus of wails erupted. "Please, please spare me. Brothers, we beg you. We only wish to survive. Is death truly our due? We've surrendered all remaining supplies. Don't take my child. I beg you, I kneel before you." As pleas rose like a tide, the captain's earlier gloom dissolved into booming laughter. "Ha ha ha ha. Fine, fine. We won't kill you." Relief washed over the captives like cool water. Nearby weaker islands had already been razed, pillaged, and slaughtered by the Skull King's forces. After all, every object acquired during the 30-day island survival trial would vanish upon return, including even the visceral sensation of consuming human flesh. And the so-called valuable goods, a grim euphemism whispered across islands, were in truth people themselves. Since all bodily sensations faded upon returning to Blue Star, what was there to fear? This very rule emboldened the most depraved without restraint. Yet the captain's laughter froze midair. His gaze darkened, cold and calculating, as he surveyed the trembling crowd. "If I spare you now, you'll become fiercer rivals in the next world. Ha 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 ha." His manic cackle sent chills down every spine. Bodies stiffened, breaths caught, eyes wide with primal terror. Alas, every pirate wore a full-face cloth mask, revealing only 2 hollow eyes, ensuring no face could be recognized, no identity traced, no warning relayed to kin or comrades. The captives' faces turned ashen. Resistance was suicide. Over a dozen had tried, and died instantly, riddled with bullets where they stood. When his men presented several young women, the captain lit a fresh cigarette, smirking. Killing for him was merely catharsis, a release for pent-up frustration. But if he slaughtered humanity to extinction, what then? When food vanished, what would he eat? "Let go of my wife. Mama, mama." Watching their terror bloom, the captain's eyes gleamed with cruel amusement. "Enough, I was only teasing. These chosen ones have a task to perform. Interfere again, and you will die." As silence fell thick with tension, he exhaled a slow, triumphant smoke ring, thinking inwardly, "Fools. Yet this apocalypse suits me perfectly. A mere security guard, now free to execute billionaires and claim beauties at will. Worth every second." Suddenly, BRRRT. "Damn it. Didn't I order controlled bursts to conserve ammo?" Furious, the captain whirled toward the gunfire. only to see a searing tongue of flame erupting straight toward his face. Down, thud, thud, thud. In Shen Yun's hands, the massive pistol roared like a precision sniper rifle, cutting down armed pirates on the beach with flawless accuracy. Even those who fired from within the cowering crowd fell without fail. After all, amid dozens of trembling figures flattened in the sand, an armed pirate stood out like a beacon. What stunned the pirates most was this: the man seemed clad in impenetrable armor, utterly indifferent to rifles, composite bows, and even point-blank volleys. At that very instant, pirates scouring other parts of the island heard the sudden, deafening barrage erupting from the captain's position. Something's wrong with Lao Ba. But moments later, the gunfire ceased. Already over. Must be a large force. All pirates paused, stunned and unnerved. Then a glacial voice crackled over their radios. All units, assemble at Lao Ba's location. Find every last one of them. Anyone who dares harm my Skull King's men will have their skin peeled off by my own hands. No one dared disobey the boss. Looting halted instantly. All converged on Lao Ba's position. Within minutes, the latest wave of arrivals encountered a lone roadblock: a man striding forward barehanded, his face half obscured by a thermal imaging visor. "Captain, the forest is clear," came the radio report. The bald leader exhaled, relieved. One man meant negotiation, not war. After all, the Skull King pirate syndicate bore its name in blood, not in vain. Convinced, the bald captain stepped forward, voice sharp. "Boy, you dare kill." His words died mid-sentence. Every face paled. For in an instant, the stranger's hands materialized 2 Gatling guns. Shen Yun wasted no breath. He simply squeezed the triggers. Brrrt. Amid the shattering roar of machine gun fire, roaring flames leapt from the barrels, death scythes sweeping across 100 pirates in a single arc. Thud, thud, thud. Bullets tore through flesh, spraying crimson arcs. Screams pierced the air. Though pirates returned fire, the Gatling's devastation was absolute. Worse still, the stranger drew rocket launchers. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 rockets streaked into the crowd. The detonations hurled smoke and splintered limbs skyward. Ahawk! My guts, my intestines! Such shrieks cast a pall of dread over the survivors, until astonishingly, when his magazines emptied, he produced another pair of Gatlings. Rocket launchers followed in rapid succession. WHOSH, WHOSH, WHOSH. Had they not stood on sunlit sand, they might have believed themselves thrust into the ruins of Syria. His firepower was monstrous, single-handedly rivaling an entire battalion. And worse still, observers realized he withstood gunfire, unscathed. He's a physique-enhanced superhuman. Even bulletproof armor couldn't do this. What's the point of fighting? Run, for your lives. Pirates scattered, sprinting blindly. No one dared stand against such a being. Like their captain, the Skull King, this man existed beyond the reach of conventional arms. Untouchable, unstoppable. But none could outrun Shen Yun. Within minutes, the once pristine white sands ran crimson, littered with viscera and shattered limbs. Still insufficient, Shen Yun discarded the smoking Gatling with detached indifference, then surged forward, cutting down every pirate in his path, without pause, without parley. Unassailable defense. Limitless munitions. He carved through resistance like a typhoon, relentless, inevitable. After mowing down another cluster, a thunderous roar split the air. Die. A blur of motion descended, long sword drawn, each footfall cratering the sand as he shot toward Shen Yun like lightning. In mere heartbeats, he crossed the battlefield, speed beyond mortal reckoning. From the surf and the wounded pirates erupted in frenzied cries. The Skull King. It's the Skull King. He's a hyper-new human. That blade cleaves steel like silk. This intruder is doomed. Skull King, don't kill him swiftly. Skin him alive. Feast on his flesh, to avenge us. On the blood-soaked shore, the Skull King struck. Sword raised high, sand exploding beneath his boots as he closed the final distance, roaring. You think firearms make you invincible? How naive. Whoosh. This slash streaked toward Shen Yun's neck with such blinding speed that the shriek of cleaving wind had barely begun, though they could not even trace the Skeleton King's blade. This was the first time the surviving pirates witnessed his full, unrestrained power. He slaughtered so many of us. Under no circumstances must he die. Keep him alive, Skeleton King. Yet at that very instant, the Skeleton King's pupils contracted sharply. Before him, the man had somehow already thrust his right hand into the path of the descending blade and flicked it with a curled finger. Dang! That ringing clang erupted like thunder bursting from still earth. Boom! Before the Skeleton King's horrified gaze, his peerless long sword shattered outright. A single finger, shattering a blade. What staggering physical resilience and raw strength must that require? The broken blade shot forward at terrifying velocity, slicing across the Skeleton King's cheek. Even as deep gashes split open to the bone, blood gushing freely, the Skeleton King showed no reaction. Only trembling awe as he stared upward where the man's hand now hovered over his skull. First the finger shattered the blade, then the hand seized his head. Yet that hand moved faster than the flying shard itself. An apex of terror incarnate speed beyond comprehension. This defied all logic the Skeleton King possessed. Gazing into Shen Yun's cold, detached eyes, his entire frame convulsed uncontrollably. His voice emerged hoarse, trembling. I swear fealty. Snap. Shen Yun narrowed his eyes, slightly clenched his 5 fingers, and crushed the skull instantly. Thump. The heavy thud of the Skeleton King collapsing backward jolted the onlookers back to reality. Seeing Shen Yun holding a Gatling gun, the pirates scattered across the beach were struck with paralyzing dread, kneeling begging for mercy. Please spare me. I was forced into this. Sir, I'm just a college girl. I've never killed anyone. Brother, if I refused, I'd be executed on the spot. What choice would you have made? What choice would I make? Shen Yun observed the short-haired woman before him. Her bearing refined, her rhetoric sharp and psychologically astute, unmistakably elite in the real world. Had another heard her plaintive, tearful plea, he might well have relented. For her words held undeniable truth. But what kind of place was the skeleton pirate ship? How could one possibly discern truth from deception? Those who kill shall themselves be slain, no exceptions. Do you imagine you would be granted mercy if you had lost? Shen Yun pulled the trigger directly at her, smiling idly. If you truly wished to flee, you should have seized your chance the moment I cut down the first wave. Next life, choose more wisely. Rat-a-tat-tat. High-velocity rounds tore through her slender form in an instant, reducing her body to a grotesque sieve. Moments later, when the gunfire finally ceased, not a single pirate remained standing on the beach. Only a sprawling mound of spilled loot. Especially the Skeleton King's hoard, so vast it blanketed half the shoreline. Seeing Shen Yun walk away without collecting any of its survivors hidden deep within the forest burst forth, like madmen racing toward the treasure-strewn sands. Everyone, charge. Food at last. Honey, did you see? The Skeleton King is dead. Wah, grab everything. We'll escape this cursed island survival trial in less than a week. Watching the frenzied scramble for supplies, Su Xiuyan murmured softly. Yuran Jie, do you think he deliberately left these goods behind? For everyone? Who can say? Lin Yuran smiled faintly, lips pressed together. Just don't provoke him. That's all that matters. True enough, Su Xiuyan nodded with a smile, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. I wonder what reward he'll receive when this ends. I wish we had his contact details, Lin Yuran sighed softly. Someone this formidable, whether in reality or in game, would guarantee safety beside him. Doubtful. He turned us away last time, Su Xiuyan replied, helplessly shrugging. They'd been sheltered for so long. Even on the periphery of the wolf pack, how wonderful it would be to live alongside Shen Yun. Chatbox, Island 9527. Chu Jiejun, the Skeleton King, is dead, slain by a mysterious powerhouse from Island 9527. Chu Jemia, that man who tamed the wolves, has appeared. He slew the Skeleton King outright. Xiang Haimei, so the ultra-reinforced steel cabin and the wolf pack belong to him. No wonder he's so strong. Pity he wears a thermal imaging visor. We can't see his face. Anyone recognize him? These few messages ignited the entire survivor community of Island 9527. This wasn't rumor, it was fact. For pirates began scattering wildly, abandoning all pretense of dominance. It's actually true. Everyone rushed ecstatically toward the seashore. Because there anchored lay the Skeleton King's fleet. Suddenly, boom, boom, boom. A barrage of explosions erupted along the coastline. With no tide to retreat into, the grounded pirate vessels had nowhere to hide. Rockets fired from the beach engulfed them in thick, churning smoke. Pirates resting aboard were incinerated before they could react. Their escort flotilla and speedboat squadrons met the same fate, all obliterated by Shen Yun's rocket launcher. Massive quantities of supplies burst from the shattered hulls, driving the coastal survivors into absolute frenzy, swarming the wreckage en masse. Many had already lost their provisions to pirate raids. Only days remained until the 30-day island survival trial concluded. One final decisive raid on resources, and they could endure just a little longer to win. How could they not go mad with desperation? After annihilating the skeleton pirate fleet, Shen Yun returned to his ultra-reinforced steel cabin. Given his current reserves, the pirates' spoils held no allure. Alas, not even the pirates possessed further enhancement serums. Clearly, only physical augmentation agents were generated within the island survival trial. After burying the White Wolf King's corpse in the vacant lot outside, Shen Yun entered the steel cabin, and fatigue crashed over him like a wave. Having slain so many, he felt profoundly unsettled, physically and mentally. Though it had seemed effortless, the memory of severed limbs, flying of mangled flesh, and gore churned his stomach violently. A shower, then rest. Shen Yun removed his thermal imaging visor, rubbed his face wearily, and stepped into the bathroom. When the Skeleton King pirate crew incident erupted, everyone realized that causing trouble at the last moment would be counterproductive. Following this, the island entered a rare period of tranquility. Major forces, including pirate crews, calmly awaited the end of the island survival challenge. For ordinary people lacking resources, their lives remained a struggle. However, not being bullied or exploited was already a significant improvement. On 9527 Island, until the final day of survival, Lin Yuran and Su Shuyan were still cornered by a pack of wolves, unable to meet Shen Yun. It seems he doesn't want to know us. Lin Yuran shook her head helplessly. Such matters cannot be forced. Su Shuyan also expressed regret, as they didn't even know Shen Yun's name until now. When the time reached 2 p.m., an announcement startled everyone. Congratulations to the survivors for passing the 30-day island survival test. In 60 seconds, they would be teleported back to their original world. Upon returning to reality, the distribution of score rewards would begin. Warm reminder: during the 60 seconds, everyone will receive protective defense and can send anonymous messages. The 30-day island survival challenge finally came to an end. Those who survived breathed a sigh of relief, especially those living on the bottom tier, who collapsed onto the ground blankly staring at the blue sky, unaware that tears were streaming down their faces. When they first entered, most people thought it was no different from a vacation. But after 30 days, they had lived worse than livestock. Anonymous survivor, it's finally over. As long as I am alive in the next world, I will kill all men. If you dare to mess with me, I'll make sure to take down every one of you. Anonymous survivor, finally no more eating people. The Tianhua pirate crew is just despicable. Especially Captain Zhang de Biao, who enjoys eating children. I've memorized your face, and just wait to see how many will come after you. Gagaga. It was evident that most people were living in misery. Particularly for some beautiful men and women, they had to submit to being slaughtered due to their weak capabilities. Many survivors sent anonymous messages venting the suppressed emotions within. Anonymous survivor, I wonder what rewards we will receive after going out. It would be great if we could become evolvers, then my body would have a chance to improve. Anonymous survivor, I just don't know if the rewards can be taken to the next world. For example, gaining strength and abilities would significantly enhance our advantages in the next world. If we can't bring anything while it's fair, who can guarantee survival? Anonymous survivor, then just don't go to the next world. Wait, in reality, with your abilities and skills until someone surpasses you. You'll regret not going to the next world then. By that time, you might not even have the ability to combat the ocean's anomalies. Outside the super iron house, Shen Yun, lying on a bamboo chair, was stroking the head of the little white wolf when suddenly he vanished. The little white wolf, feeling inexplicably anxious, stood up straight and looked around in confusion. It noticed that while the super iron house remained, there was no sign of Shen Yun around. After exiting the island world, Shen Yun appeared on the bed of his rental apartment, and a prompt sounded in his mind. Congratulations, Shen Yun, for surviving 30 days in the novice area of the island. Our rewards will be sent after the scoring concludes. Detecting Shen Yun's strength rating: islands, first super SSS. Material rating: islands, first super SSS. Housing rating: islands, first SSS. Underling rating: Wolf Pack B. Social rating: F. Islands compatibility rating: C. Shen Yun put away the transmigration stone in his hand, his brow slightly furrowing. Will subsequent worlds also follow this rating? Too much social interaction in a post-apocalyptic setting was evidently impractical. Who knows if those who appear friendly will stab you in the back? This metric should relate to the leaders of factions and survival teams. The compatibility should pertain to survival means. As a novice, Shen Yun's C grade was likely due to an abundance of resources, such as fishing baits, nylon fish traps, etc. He was somewhat aware of this. After more than 10 ratings were announced, Shen Yun took a deep breath and focused to listen. Congratulations, Shen Yun, for obtaining an SSS rating. You have received an SS-level treasure chest. As the prompt fell, a projection of a purple gold treasure chest appeared before Shen Yun. SS-level treasure chest has a chance to produce SS-level items. Goodness. 3S. Shen Yun beamed with joy, eagerly raising his hand to click open. The purple gold treasure chest in the projection slowly opened, emanating dazzling purple gold light. Within the purple gold glow, 2 radiant cards floated slowly. Shen Yun focused intently on the card information, suddenly sitting up excitedly. Ability card: space SS level. Initially unlocks the ability for spatial displacement, with subsequent ability techniques unlocked and comprehended as strength increases. Immunity to nuclear radiation ability potion: SS level. After use, the internal nuclear radiation value disappears, providing immunity to any radiation infection, including biological and future oceanic mutant-level nuclear infections, all of which can be directly immune. Spatial ability: how defiant of fate. Shen Yun brimmed with exhilaration. With this power, he would at least be able to protect himself in the real world, and the immunity to nuclear radiation was frighteningly potent. According to the briefing, even the apex-class oceanic aberrations that arise in the future could be ignored by it. If a zombie apocalypse came, this would amount to immunity against zombie pathogens of any grade. Shen Yun thrilled inwardly. Once the oceanic aberrations erupted and swarmed the surface, a 3S level nuclear immunity would be truly terrifying. If a spitting nuclear poisoning mutant struck him in his sleep, he might die without even knowing. Use. Shen Yun willed, and the two hovering cards dissolved into streams of light that poured into his body. The method for wielding the spatial ability flowed into his mind. The use of an ability is deeply tied to one's spiritual strength and constitution. Although Shen Yun had mastered the spatial ability, his power remained insufficient. His instantaneous teleportation could only reach a distance of 100 meters. At the same time, his entire body began to tingle. Before long, dark stains welled up on his skin. It must be internal nuclear contamination. Shen Yun rose and went into the bathroom. With this passive ability in an environment saturated with nuclear pollution, he would no longer worry about securing food or drink. Try spatial displacement, he thought. At the instant Shen Yun focused on the bathroom, he vanished from where he stood and reappeared within it. How convenient, he laughed as he turned on the shower. After using the ability, he felt a little dizzy. By his estimate, he could teleport at most 10 more times for now. By the way, system, can I sign in this world? If another Golden Finger reward came, he might skyrocket in power. The system replied, host, the sign-in function only activates when the host is traversing a mission world. I see. Shen Yun nodded and did not feel disappointed. At least the next time he traversed into another world, he could sign in for a super Golden Finger. Moreover, when he returned to reality, his ranking rewards would surely be generous. The two abilities he had obtained this time were extraordinarily powerful. Calling them apocalypse-level Golden Fingers would not be an exaggeration. I really look forward to what the next Golden Finger will be. Shen Yun smiled broadly. System, any hints? Host Golden Finger rewards are random, the system answered. Very well. After washing, Shen Yun went to the living room and checked his phone. 232-309-30 2:01 p.m. Exactly 7 days had passed. Feeling a bit hungry, he grabbed 2 packets of instant noodles and ate casually while browsing the news. In the island world, after his constitution had broken through its limits, he could go days without food. Back in the real world, the hunger returned. At that moment, a cold, emotionless notification sounded in the minds of every person on the globe. The newcomer zone. Island survival has concluded. All survivors will receive a rookie gift pack. Higher rankings receive better rookie rewards. The next world will open in 3 days at noon. Reminder, when traversing, you cannot carry any items including abilities or evolver power. You may choose not to traverse and instead increase your strength in reality to confront the oceanic aberrations. Note, those who have never participated in interworld traversal will receive no newcomer zone and no rookie benefits next time. The faces of many who had not participated drained of color. They had planned to wait for the first batch to return and gather more information before entering the other world. That way they would be at ease. But now the newcomer zone was gone, and even the completion gift was gone. The internet was already in an uproar. Many returnees had obtained numerous top-tier items, such as decontamination serums. A single injection could repair vast radiation-induced necrosis in a near-death patient and restore their vigor. Countries also disclosed technologies surrendered by traversers: controllable nuclear fusion light cannons, electromagnetic pulse waves, and so on. These were powerful weapons and technologies for future battles against the oceanic aberrations. Some people gained enhanced constitutions. Although they did not become evolvers, a robust body confers a natural resistance to nuclear pollution. More importantly, many people obtained abilities from the settlement chests. That is the foundation of survival. When facing oceanic aberrations, those who possess abilities need little worry about their survival rates. Even constitution boosts or handing over advanced tech rewards to the state would secure safety. The emergence of so many exquisite rewards left those who had not entered island survival with deep regret. Everyone knew that in the newcomer zone, island survival, the mail function was extremely convenient. Distance posed no barrier to mail trading. Some survival enthusiasts who had not entered the island after reading the traversers' accounts online could only scold themselves for hesitating. Few beasts, scarce food, universal supply boxes, rare, everything to be found by oneself. Yet remote mail trading was available. To them it had seemed like a resort. The settlement chest on return must surely be SS steer, and abilities would be easy to come by. And now the settlement chest's rookie packs and the newcomer world. All of it had nothing to do with them. It was an immense loss that made people seethe with anger. There was no remedy for regret. A crowd left comments beneath survivors' videos venting their frustration. If I'd known, I would have gone. I hesitated and got nothing. My friend had it worse. His wife came back and immediately went out. Rumor says she was trained by others, controlled by some CPU program. Even though she had lost many sensations upon return, she apparently took to it. If you don't take the chance to traverse now, don't expect ordinary people to survive fairly alongside the strong when resources dwindle. Once supplies run short, will the weak still have a voice? Those who refuse to traverse should read what survivors posted. Some suffered so terribly they were reduced to nothing but rations. At least everyone started from zero. Even those who have abilities now will enter the next world without them. One could say it is quite fair. Meanwhile, every survivor received a personal notification in their mind. Congratulations, survivor Shen Yun, you have received a rookie gift pack. Note this pack has been enhanced by the survivor's SSS rating to the highest rookie quality, the Supreme Pack. Not bad. Shen Yun, sitting on his bed, watched the gift projection and willed open. The notification announced, congratulations, Shen Yun, you have obtained 1 Drank Ability Crystal Core, Tier 1 Evolver Power, and 20 Tier 1 Evolution Crystal Cores. No sooner had the notification sounded than a small pile of crystal cores landed on Shen Yun's bed. A warm current flowed through his limbs, bathing him in heat. Especially the surge of power within him gave him the illusion of boundless strength. If a bull were present, Shen Yun was confident he could knock it down with a single punch. This sudden surge of power brought him the most direct feeling of expansion. Moreover, his mind felt exceptionally clear and transparent. The discomfort and dizziness he felt after using his psychic abilities vanished in that moment. Having reached the limits of his physique, the enhancement he felt now should be attributed to the Heavenly Dao, erasing his previous island experiences. Shen Yun clenched his fists tightly and got up to stretch his limbs. Punches, kicks, and elbow strikes all brought him a sense of immense power. To put it plainly, facing dozens of his previous selves, he could dispatch them at will. Nothing feels more reassuring than one's own strength. Shen Yun smiled broadly as he relaxed his hands. After all, the things gained by a traverser in another world tend to vanish, such as strength and various psychic attributes, but experiences of survival and combat skills would remain in the mind, requiring the survivor to spend time consolidating them. Currently, the ability to tangibly enhance one's strength is the most crucial for anyone, and the first-tier evolved being has already taken a significant lead over the others. With this new psychic ability, I'm ridiculously strong. Shen Yun chuckled proudly, raising his hand and spreading his fingers as he solemnly declared, space-devouring. Buzz! A ripple of void appeared before his hand. In the blink of an eye, a black hole barrier the size of a basin slowly floated into existence in the void. This is Shen Yun's second lethal move with space abilities after becoming an evolved being, space-devouring. Once activated, any attack can be devoured without harm or backlash, making it utterly terrifying. As he grows stronger, the black hole will expand to resemble a black hole in the galaxy, devouring everything without allowing anything to escape. If he were to attack an opponent, one move of space-devouring would send the enemy into the boundless darkness, and just the thought of it sends shivers down one's spine. Dispersing his psychic ability, Shen Yun held the Great Psychic Core in his hand. The core was the size of a fingernail, overall gray-black, akin to chaos. On the surface of the core, 3 thin white lines emitted starlight, distinguishing the core's grade, making it appear quite extraordinary. The Great Psychic Core, using it will randomly awaken 1 Great Psychic ability. Shen Yun pondered for a moment and decided not to use it, as for him, now the quality of a Great Psychic ability was too low. Previously, while eating instant noodles, Shen Yun learned online that the lowest Great Psychic ability obtained by survivors is Great. His psychic ability level is 3S. If there is a level above 3S, that would be 10 levels. The Great Psychic ability is only at level 3, creating a vast disparity. In any case, in the next traversed world, those with psychic abilities will find them ineffective. If he could once again obtain other high-level psychic abilities, that great ability might not even have a chance to manifest. Using it now would be purely wasteful. He'll keep it for now. After storing the psychic core, Shen Yun examined the next tier core. The first tier core was the same size, all gray in color. First tier evolution core, low tier marine variant, produced humans evolve into first tier evolved beings after consuming 25 cores. Have the variants already generated cores? Or was it not reported previously? Shen Yun raised an eyebrow. The news and information from this world indicated that marine life that had surfaced on land over the past 200 years did not possess cores. If they deliberately withheld the information, that would be rather intriguing. Shen Yun's eyes flickered, then he shook his head, deciding not to dwell on it, as it had nothing to do with him. The next world in 3 days is what he should be considering. I need to prepare. Lying on the bed, Shen Yun opened an app on his phone to search for nearby shooting clubs. He planned to regain the shooting feel and precision he had before. However, upon searching online, Shen Yun discovered that the shooting clubs in Haicheng were already fully booked. Even studios for combat, survival, and rock climbing were crowded, requiring reservations and waiting in line. Looks like he'll have to work out at home. Shen Yun got up and headed to the living room to start exercising. As for work, it was no longer necessary. Most companies had shut down and employees were being brainwashed to band together in the other world. At that moment, a knock on the door sounded. Is Shen Yun home? Is anyone there? We are here to register information. Register information. Shen Yun peered through the peephole, and upon opening the door, he saw 2 uniformed police officers standing at the entrance. One of the men smiled at Shen Yun and said, "Hello, we are here to invite psychic beings to join the official organization. If you have psychic abilities, you might consider joining the official organization, which offers many conveniences. We will also reward outstanding psychics with evolution cores. I wish to join, but unfortunately, I have no psychic abilities. Shen Yun sighed with a forlorn expression. To him, joining a faction equated to being controlled, and it could lead to endless troubles. Not to mention having a system and still working like a cog in the machine is absurd. All right then, sorry for bothering you. The male officer nodded and quickly recorded some information before heading to the next house. After closing the door, Shen Yun started to exercise. There were many related tutorials online. However, having already reached the strength of a first-tier evolved being, his physique was incredibly strong, and he needed to do several more sets for any noticeable effect. In the tense atmosphere, time flew by. Everyone was doing their best to improve themselves, searching for information, listening to audiobooks, exercising, and enhancing personal survival skills. The news reported as well. Many countries had adopted comprehensive resource control. Those willing to continue working would see their salaries increase several-fold while receiving living supplies. After all, many people were preparing to enter the other world. Who would be left to produce goods? Experts predicted that the primary trading currency for humanity in the future would undoubtedly be variant cores. On the afternoon of the third day, those preparing to traverse focused intently on their phones. 1159. The waiting time was undoubtedly long, making everyone feel that these 3 days had passed even more slowly. No one knew what dangers awaited in this upcoming traversed world. Shen Yun in his rental apartment was also gently rubbing the light blue traversal stone in his hand. He silently hoped. I hope this time's sign-in golden finger is sufficiently practical. At that moment, as the pointer jumped to 115957, everyone around the globe held their breath, because that mysterious and unpredictable announcement had arrived as expected. National Traversal Countdown 3 seconds to 1. Kind reminder: traversers cannot carry any items including personal psychic abilities and strength. You can choose to stop the traversal and become stronger in reality. Whoosh. The traversal stone in Shen Yun's hand exploded with brilliant blue light. As his vision blurred, he found himself sitting in a chair in an office building. The environment was neither the island that netizens speculated nor a desolate desert. It was a city. What could the urban apocalypse entail? Many felt inexplicably uneasy. At the same time, a chilling voice echoed in everyone's mind, sending chills down their spines. Ding. Welcome, traversers, to the zombie apocalypse. Survival time 6 months. Apocalypse outbreak countdown 10 seconds, starting weapon fruit knife zombies. 6 months of survival. Everyone turned pale with fear. Even those who thrived on the island could not help but turn pale. There were no wild beasts roaming the streets of the island. But in the city it was all zombies. And everyone was just an ordinary person, having inherited neither psychic abilities nor strength. Wanting to survive for 6 months without any mail trading function, was there any hope? Meanwhile, the streets erupted with curses and roars. It's over. All these people around. Get the hell away from me. You idiot. Are you rushing to reincarnate? The young man knocked down by a passerby cursed angrily. Not only him, many shoppers were jostled around by strangers. This group of people is really lacking in manners. Is this the apocalypse? I think they've gone mad. So many people, could they be acting for a video? Huh. Jia, why are you leaning back? The girl by the roadside looked at her best friend, who suddenly leaned back with confusion. Seeing her friend expose her pink underwear beneath her JK skirt, the girl quickly stepped forward to block her, flustered and annoyed. What are you doing? I don't remember you learning yoga. I didn't expect you to wear something so revealing today. Before she could finish, the girl's eyes widened. The leaning girl suddenly stood straight, revealing her grayish-white pupils and a face covered in corpse-like spots. Who? Amidst a hoarse roar, the best friend's pink lips suddenly stretched wide, tearing at the corners of her mouth, lunging at her. What are you? No. It's a zombie. Run. Roar. The hoarse and frenzied roar swept across the entire. The chilling screams of the crowd were completely drowned out by the horde of zombies. In the office area where Shen Yun was located, a zombie transformation erupted. Apart from the traversers, 7 natives had transformed. Fortunately, among the more than 20 traversers, many had been to the islands. When the alert sounded, some quickly closed the doors. Before the 7 transformed zombies could attack, they were swiftly killed by the group. Even the seemingly delicate girls were extremely decisive and ruthless when they struck. This scene left many new traversers and natives dumbfounded. Wow, is this what an expert looks like? So cool. The girl who spoke looked at the girl kicking the zombies with admiration. The two were not much different in appearance, yet the other could kill zombies, which truly made her envious. However, the 3 women who acted all wore in different expressions, making many second-time traversers aware. The 3 had either encountered a disaster on the island or were formidable powerhouses and should not be provoked easily. If it was the former, it would be even more dangerous. Ding. Current world detected as a zombie apocalypse. Would the host like to sign in for a super cheat? Here it comes. Shen Yun's eyes sparkled as he noticed no one around had transformed, and he discreetly retreated to the back of the crowd. Sign in. Ding, sign in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the super cheat level up. Level up. The host will be directly elevated to the current world's highest level, peak level 10 mutant. What the hell? Full level. Such an absurd boost. Shen Yun's eyes widened. Boom. He trembled all over his hair, standing on end. An indescribably powerful force surged within him, causing his blood to boil. In an instant, the people and objects around him appeared to undergo subtle changes in his eyes. This was a transformation from the inside out. The most direct feeling was that whether it was the people around or the roaring zombies outside, in Shen Yun's eyes, they could be described with one word: weak. Too weak. At this moment, he felt an infinite sense of expansion arise from the depths of his heart. As long as he wished, he could easily wipe out all the zombies in the city. It seems that the previous 3,000 points of physical enhancement also gave me this extreme sense of power. Shen Yun took a deep breath, suppressing the excitement in his heart. The feeling of physical enhancement from the island had faded as he exited the other world, leaving only a vague memory. But having experienced such an absurd boost again, he quickly stabilized his emotions. Phew, this feeling is truly powerful. Shen Yun clenched his fists, filled with emotion. No wonder it's the super escort system. It's indeed domineering. Thank you for the compliment, host. It's only natural. The system is not about frivolities. System is 666. Shen Yun grinned, glancing at the projection interface. The Traverser's chat group was still active, messages flying by. The character backpack had only 20 slots for storage. As for character attributes, mail and friends, they were all gone. Only one new option remained: Apocalypse Quest. Shen Yun opened it to see. Apocalypse Quest: collect 2 bottles of mineral water. Warm reminder: the more tasks completed, and the higher the score, the option to skip tasks with a score deduction can be chosen. Goodness. Am I not going to max this out? Shen Yun's eyes lit up. Previously on the island, he didn't know what task ratings. Now that he possessed the strength of a peak level 10 mutant, he had to complete every task, striving to maximize the quality of rewards. I wonder what the highest quality rewards are. Just thinking about it makes me a bit excited. Shen Yun was secretly delighted. At this moment, the remaining 6 natives in the room looked around in disbelief at the unfamiliar faces. Who are you? How did you suddenly appear here? The sudden appearance of over 20 people in the room was truly astounding. Could it be? Are they Traversers? Upon hearing this, the Traversers, including Shen Yun, all looked towards the bespectacled young man. This caused the glasses-wearing boy to turn pale, feeling quite nervous. Among the crowd, a male Traverser smiled at the 6. That's right, we are Traversers. Ha ha ha, isn't it amazing? Hearing this, the 6 momentarily forgot their fear and exclaimed in shock, heavens, there are really Traversers in this world. Quick, tell us what's going on with this apocalypse. Earlier, a meteor fell and fog spread across the globe. Who would have thought? It was zombie poison. How did you get here? Right? You're not here to save the Earth, are you? Time-traveling machine, perhaps. Save the Earth. The crowd was speechless. It would be great if they could save themselves. With only 6 months of survival time in mind, everyone suddenly lost the mood to continue the conversation. Just as Shen Yun was about to jump out of the window to complete a task, bang! The door connecting to the adjacent office was kicked open. Kicking the door open was a man who, seeing so many people in the office area holding knives, quickly smiled. We are all from the same place, let's help each other. Huh? Shen Yun? Hearing the familiar fake laugh, Shen Yun turned his head to see a rather handsome man in a suit come into view. It was indeed an old acquaintance. The HR director of the beauty group, Zhang Tao. He was indeed a colleague of Shen Yun's at the company he joined. Behind Zhang Tao, a large group of people were looking at him with suspicion. Where is Shen Yun? Let me see. It really is him. It seems this time the traversal should be a simulation phase. Wherever everyone's daily activities take place, that's where they will be sent. I heard Shen Yun traveled to the island to take a gamble after a breakup. Is that true? I thought he went home to inherit the family business. Upon hearing this, everyone turned to look at the girl in a white dress standing like a snow lotus in the crowd. Noticing Shen Yun's calm demeanor, she smiled gently and said, now you should tell me the reason for the breakup, right? Wang Jiani, a graduate who joined the company 2 months before Shen Yun. Already known as the campus beauty, she soon became revered as a goddess by the male colleagues at the company. Many single colleagues openly pursued her, but unfortunately Shen Yun appeared out of nowhere. Shen Yun came to the beauty company to apply for a security job. After all, with the nuclear pollution in the world, it hardly mattered whether one died early or late. He might as well retire early and enjoy the life of an elder ahead of time. Yet his nuclear pollution detection levels were alarmingly low. Low enough that only the wealthy and upper class could possess such low indicators. Coupled with his handsome appearance and sophisticated demeanor that set him apart from his peers, being a security guard seemed beneath him. Fearing to offend the forces behind, Shen Yun's sister Lu from the recruitment department arranged for him to work internally within the company. It could be said that human connections were fully utilized. One could assume that even if this rich kid left, he would still remember Sister Liu's kindness, right? Shen Yun declined Sister Liu's goodwill, insisting on being a security guard and muddling through life. However, it wasn't long before his shockingly low nuclear indicators became the talk of the office. Shen Yun claimed he was just an ordinary person, but no one believed him. At this moment, the pure and beautiful campus beauty Wang Jiani secretly pursued Shen Yun with enthusiasm. As a single man in this dangerous nuclear-polluted world, Shen Yun began to open up, confirming that Wang Jiani was not approaching him due to speculations about his extraordinary background, but rather because he was handsome and of bright disposition. Shen Yun decided to enjoy life and developed a relationship with Wang Jiani. Being young, they were naturally filled with passion. However, multiple visits to hotels drained Shen Yun's finances. Wang Jiani soon realized there might have been a misunderstanding. This guy hardly spent any money outside of booking hotel rooms. Meanwhile, the HR manager Zhang Tao, who had feelings for Wang Jiani, received a private message from her, wanting to investigate Shen Yun's identity. In fact, Zhang Tao had already learned about Shen Yun's orphan status from Sister Liu. Yet Shen Yun's nuclear indicators were not like those of an ordinary person, and his demeanor was exceptionally outstanding. He possessed a calm and magnanimous disposition that seemed detached from worldly affairs. Zhang Tao did not intend to interact too much with him, since he was Wang Jiani's person. However, upon learning that Wang Jiani wanted to cling to a wealthy man, Zhang Tao felt an opportunity to pursue a student girl had arisen. In his youth, he never had the chance to interact with the campus beauty. Now he was determined to fulfill his childhood wish. He directly informed Wang Jiani that Shen Yun was indeed an orphan. If she didn't believe him, he could arrange for someone to give Shen Yun a beating, and they would soon find out. This would confirm Shen Yun's orphan status, and to maintain her reputation while continuing to pursue wealthy men, Wang Jiani had no choice but to heed his words. If Shen Yun truly was a rich man and things went awry, Zhang Tao could simply resign and make a quick escape without implicating Wang Jiani. Once Wang Jiani married into the Shen family, he would then resort to threats against her. After all, she was one of the masterminds behind the scheme against Shen Yun. By then, he would have both money and people at his disposal, and wouldn't that be the moment to sing songs of triumph? Zhang Tao calculated that he wouldn't lose anything. Wang Jiani agreed without much thought. If she couldn't uncover Shen Yun's identity, she would have lost everything, naturally feeling anxious. Unfortunately, their secret scheme was inadvertently discovered by Shen Yun. One night after satisfying Wang Jiani, he noticed she was receiving messages late at night. Seeing Wang Jiani asleep looking like a sleeping beauty, Shen Yun used her fingerprint to unlock her phone and found a message from Zhang Tao. "Tomorrow night, when you break up with him, my people will take care of him. Remember to keep it a secret." Shen Yun didn't open the message to avoid revealing his knowledge. He put down the phone and looked at Wang Jiani, who resembled a sleeping beauty, feeling a wave of sadness. He had initially thought he found true love, only to realize she was a woman driven by reality. Indeed, early the next morning, when Shen Yun wanted to make love, Wang Jiani refused, claiming she felt unwell. She never usually rejected him before checking out, so Shen Yun pretended to storm out, ignoring her for several days. At this point, he had already lost a battle and had nothing more to say. The two gradually lost contact. But not long after, there was a loud banging on Shen Yun's door. Both had broken up, unsure if it was Zhang Tao's arrangement or if Wang Jiani, feeling unwilling to let go, still wanted to test his identity. Shen Yun hid at home and didn't open the door, but the next day, he heard the broadcast of Universal Crossing, and thus the scene unfolded. Returning to reality, Shen Yun saw Wang Jiani, whose eyes were slightly red, staring at him without speaking. Had it been before, he would have embraced her and comforted her at the sight of such a look. However, now seeing Wang Jiani, all he felt was disgust. This woman still wanted to probe him about the reason for their breakup. Clearly, she was uncertain whether he knew about her and Zhang Tao's scheme. Wang Jiani's inquiry ultimately stemmed from the fact that Shen Yun had returned alive from the island, because those who returned all received settlement rewards and starter packs. If Shen Yun became wealthy because of this, she would still have room to maneuver. This little schemer has quite a few tricks up her sleeve. Zhang Tao naturally noticed Wang Jiani testing Shen Yun. But don't forget, those who crossed over to another world couldn't inherit their real-world power. Even if Shen Yun had good fortune and obtained special abilities during the island scoring here, he was still empty-handed. Moreover, Zhang Tao was also a traveler who returned from the island world. He had faced off against the bosses on the island and pirates without flinching at all in front of Shen Yun. "Once you get on my ship, there's no way out. You are destined to be my woman." Zhang Tao greedily glanced at Wang Jiani's stunning face and smiled at Shen Yun. "Haha, it seems you two really broke up, and you are still angry, huh? We are all colleagues. There's no need for cold faces. Ew, we should help each other." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed behind everyone. Roar! A hoarse roar surged, startling Wang Jiani and the others, who turned around in shock. Not good. The back door's glass has been shattered. A horde of zombies burst through the glass door, rushing towards them with claws outstretched. What the hell? Run! Don't block the door. Don't panic. Quickly use tables and chairs to block the entrance. Zhang Tao shouted, directing his colleagues. After the island event, he had read numerous novels and watched films about zombies, and now he felt confident and credible while directing the situation. Over 10 colleagues began rapidly moving tables and chairs to the entrance. Wang Jiani, looking nervous, ran to Shen Yun's side, naturally taking his hand and whispering, "Are we going to be okay?" However, as she followed Shen Yun's gaze towards the office area, her pupils suddenly constricted. The door that had originally been blocked by tables and chairs was now corroded, turning to sludge on the ground. But everyone else was drawn to the back door, completely unaware of the commotion here. Watching as zombies squeezed in, Wang Jiani's face turned pale as she pointed forward. The door. The door. What's wrong, Jiani? What door? The colleagues around her turned to look at the door. Suddenly screams erupted like thunder, leaving everyone dizzy. The zombies here have broken in. Both front and back are filled with zombies. What a... Everyone turned around in shock. They saw over a dozen zombies roaring as they rushed through the corroded door. Seeing the snarling zombies approach, the crowd felt as if they had fallen into an ice pit, their faces filled with fear as they scattered in all directions. It's over. What do we do now? Don't panic. Use the terrain to kill the zombies. Use the zombie bodies to create obstacles. The scene descended into chaos. Those with courage began utilizing the desks in the office to hunt zombies. Yet the majority panicked. Even Zhang Tao, blocking the back door, turned and fled when he realized they were being attacked from behind, forgetting about killing zombies. Wang Jiani and the others also lost their composure, all scrambling to climb onto the desks, trying to grab onto the water pipes on the ceiling. Shen Yun saw Zhang Tao passing by and grabbed him by the neck. "You." Zhang Tao angrily turned his head to glare at him. What time was it? Does this kid want to pick a fight? A surge of murderous intent filled Zhang Tao's heart. He certainly didn't want to die here. But before he could retaliate against this brat, a sharp pain shot through his neck. With a crisp sound, "Why is he so strong?" Zhang Tao's head went limp, the flames of anger and disbelief in his eyes instantly freezing. Shen Yun maintained a calm demeanor, casually flinging his body towards the floor-to-ceiling window. If he hadn't sensed their scheme early on, what if he had been attacked and injured, affecting his survival during the crossover? Since they had made enemies, he would simply eliminate them. How terrifying is the power of a peak 10th tier mutant? The body, like a cannonball, instantly shattered the floor-to-ceiling window. Meanwhile, the office area was being flooded with an increasing number of zombies. Seeing that they could not hold them off, the crowd looked around in despair, desperate to find a way to survive. When they heard the sound of the shattering window, many turned back and gasped in horror. Hiss! Outside the window, a figure was hovering in the air. Shen Yun, he can actually fly? Upon seeing this, Wang Jiani felt a chill run down her spine. Seeing more and more zombies rushing into the room, she barely hesitated and pushed past a surprised colleague rushing towards him. "Honey, catch me." She knew that Shen Yun loved to hear her call those two words. Especially when they were alone together, she would call him by that affectionate name whenever she asked for mercy. However, Shen Yun would only become more excited, making her secretly delighted. Wang Jiani knew she had him completely under her thumb. Now her boyfriend could fly. This was incredibly important in the apocalypse. Just thinking about the days ahead made her feel ecstatic. Leaping out of the floor-to-ceiling window, she felt like a bird soaring towards Shen Yun. But to her horror, Shen Yun did not reach out to catch her. Instead, he moved back. He calmly watched as her graceful figure fell. In that moment, Wang Jiani was whoosh. From a height of 17 floors, the rushing wind whistled past her ears, instantly waking the shivering Wang Jiani. Her face pale as a sheet, she let out a piercing scream. "No. Save me, Shen Yun." Wang Jiani wanted to look up at the sky, but the pull of gravity made it difficult for her to lift her head. Tears blurred her vision. Yet the endless fear in her heart made her want to see that merciless man once more. Why wouldn't he catch her? Suddenly, a soft voice whispered in her ear, causing Wang Jiani's eyes to widen in terror. "You shouldn't have conspired with Zhang Tao." No. Until the very last moment, Wang Jiani did not see any intention from Shen Yun to help her. Only then did she begin to understand, staring blankly at his fleeting, indifferent expression. Regret. Guilt. Perhaps Wang Jiani's greatest feeling at this moment was that she should not have deceived an innocent young man with her own naivety. This feeling was very contradictory. But isn't that just how people are? Boom. With a loud crash, her falling figure smashed into a car, shattering its windows and denting the roof. Roar. Roar. The deafening sound drew the zombie horde on the street, who roared and charged forward. Sitting atop the car, Shen Yun reached into a zombie's pocket and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. The surrounding zombies seemed oblivious to him. Some zombies even growled nervously and moved away when they... At first glance, he didn't appear to be a human powerhouse, but rather like a zombie king radiating an aura. The cigarette had a pungent, spicy smell. Shen Yun silently watched Wang Jiani, whose 7 orifices were bleeding, with bloodshot eyes and a faint smile as he said, "I'll accompany you with the smoke on your way. Oh, in your next life, don't get entangled with money." Who can be unfeeling? If it weren't for the incident of hitting her, Wang Jiani indeed brought Shen Yun the feeling of first love. To be honest, he still liked this pure and beautiful girl very much. But life is wonderfully strange. If Shen Yun had been beaten and didn't have a system by his side, he would never have been able to enter the island. This would lead to a step back and then another step back. Even if he got in, he might die inside due to injuries and limited mobility. Even some strong men could die on the island. Oh, what luck would it take for him to survive? If he felt soft-hearted because Wang Jiani was beautiful and his girlfriend, he wouldn't have been able to do it. There are priorities. It's not like he can simply smile and forget past grievances because he is alive. It's time to take on a mission. Shen Yun flicked the cigarette but towards the leaking car. Seeing the cigarette but violently spark a fire under the car, he leaped forward to the roof, disappearing in a few flashes. The powerful physique of a 10th-tier mutant made crossing the void effortless. At the same time, a flame erupted from beneath the car, instantly engulfing the exploding vehicle. After all, they had a fleeting connection. It wouldn't be beautiful if Wang Jiani were eaten by zombies. Shen Yun's elaborate send-off would be his way of giving back. Inside a supermarket, when Shen Yun collected 2 bottles of mineral water, the apocalypse mission changed. Mission completed, reward a pack of instant noodles. Next mission, hunt 50 zombies. Shen Yun glanced at the horde of zombies moving between the shelves, raised his hand to rip off a layer of the shelf, and tossed it at the heads of the zombies in the aisle. Whoosh! With the sound of slicing wind, the heads of the zombies were split in 2 by the metal shards. Zombie kill 1. Zombie kill 2. This is too easy. With a smile, Shen Yun rubbed the metal sheet, and as it took shape, he flung it out to slice through a group of zombies. The thunderous sound of the metal striking the shelves and walls agitated the zombie horde, causing the survivors on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the supermarket to wonder, the horde just calmed down, why are they going wild again? The horde won't charge up here, will they? I remember some places had corrosive zombies, and the carts in the hallway might not hold them back. Look, someone is on the 1st floor. The 1st floor? With so many zombies, he probably won't survive. The crowd cautiously approached the railing to look down, and to their shock, they saw a man throwing metal sheets that instantly killed a path through the horde. What the hell? Flying pancake guy. That power is too terrifying. Everyone was dumbfounded. From above, they saw at least 3 rows of shelves strewn with zombies, a truly spectacular scene. Why aren't the zombies attacking him? Right. Only then did the crowd realize. The zombies on the 1st floor completely ignored him. At that moment, a man on the 3rd floor railing furrowed his brows and spoke softly. Do you remember the identity mentioned in the mysterious broadcast? Identity. The 3 companions exchanged glances. Suddenly their expressions changed, and they shouted, he obtained the zombie identity. No wonder the zombies aren't attacking him. Oh, it turns out he's one of them. Boss, isn't that cheating? A younger brother beside him looked enviously at the figure below. In a world filled with zombies, someone actually activated the zombie identity. The significance of this was enormous. If you can't beat them, join them. He had truly found a way out. Seeing how freely he moved, it was evident he possessed self-awareness. He was incredibly lucky. Everyone in the supermarket felt a deep sense of envy rising from their hearts. Indeed, he is cheating. The man's tone was filled with envy. He was the ruler of the 769th island in the previous world. But right now, he can only protect himself. The gap between them is too great compared to how the other moves freely among the horde of corpses. Boss, does this mean he will rush over to carry out a killing mission? Little brother has discovered the blind spot, he said nervously. So hurry and run. Mo Chongkong turned and fled. 50 zombies were quickly slain by Shen Yun. Mission completed, reward 20 liters of gasoline. Next mission, increase strength to a 1st-tier mutant. 1st-tier mutant. Shen Yun raised an eyebrow. He's already at the 10th tier, will he regress in strength? Fortunately, the mission was relatively reliable. After a moment, the taskbar refreshed. Mission completed, reward a fine long knife. Next mission, collect 10 kilograms of food, 20 kilograms of drinking water, and 50 liters of gasoline. The rewards were of no use to Shen Yun. Once he confirmed the mission, he began to browse the supermarket amidst the horde of corpses. For him, completing these tasks was exceedingly simple. Watching the zombies around him automatically step aside, Shen Yun murmured to himself, could it be that mutants also harbor zombie toxins within them? Some powerful zombie kings possess an aura that makes lower-tier zombies fear and not dare to approach. This is similar to animals. But such phenomena only occur when they are of the same kind. Humans and zombies appear to be 2 different species. The only explanation for this situation is the zombie toxin is a catalyst for human evolution. Survival of the fittest. What use is there in thinking about this? I'm going to leave here anyway. Shen Yun shook his head. After gathering the supplies, he turned and left the supermarket to find vehicles for gasoline. At the same time, he opened the chat box for travelers, locking in on information within the city traveler chat box. Jiangnan City, Alexandra. I found a power crystal core in a zombie's head. Whoever comes to rescue me will get it. Location. Lu Rong. Why is it harder than the island? I'm just a newcomer. Can someone I know come to rescue my daughter and me? Ma Fei Yu. Am tied up in the bathroom. The task tells me to find a generator. What the heck? Is there any need for this connection? Li Hua, I've heard that someone in other cities has already gained abilities. Jealousy is driving me purple. Huang Xiaoxiong ability is a demand. We have an identity traveler appearing, and it's a zombie. Luckily that old man left, otherwise we would be in trouble. Fear, what the heck? A zombie identity? That's incredible. Wide eyes, he want to evolve into a high-level zombie and slaughter the city, right? Everyone better prepare to evacuate Jiangnan City soon. The fastest way to understand the news is undoubtedly through the chat box. Shen Yun roughly scanned and confirmed that everyone's apocalyptic task was different. Furthermore, attribute crystal cores and ability crystal cores had appeared among the zombies. Let's first complete the task. This isn't urgent, Shen Yun said with a raised eyebrow and a smile as he tore open the car's skin with one hand and began collecting gasoline. In the following time, Shen Yun quickly completed his personal tasks, collecting food and usable supplies, going to the flower and bird market to gather seeds, enhancing his strength, observing zombie behavior, hunting corrosive creatures, and so on. The easiest task for him was enhancing strength. Currently, survivors need to consume 100 first-tier crystal cores or 25 second-tier crystal cores to upgrade to a second-tier mutant. But for Shen Yun, completing the strength task was effortless. The second easiest was collecting supplies. Just a trip to the supermarket or convenience store would suffice. The third type involves going to a specific place to gather supplies, which is relatively time-consuming. Over the course of 5 days, Shen Yun elevated his apocalyptic task to the level of a 5th-tier mutant. It can be said that he is the only one globally. After all, high-level zombies didn't even leave a shadow. It seems that the 10th-tier task will be available in half a month. Standing by the window, Shen Yun looked at the horde of corpses in the street and smiled slightly. Currently, his task is to rest for half a day in a safe zone. Shen Yun casually found a vacant room and stayed there comfortably. After being busy for so many days, it was rare to have free time, so Shen Yun prepared a sumptuous lunch for himself. Braised pork, steamed large yellow croaker, stir-fried cabbage, braised ribs with radish, plus a roast chicken and ice-cold beer. It was simply delightful in this summer. While eating chicken feet, a mission prompt echoed in his mind. Congratulations, Traveler Shen Yun, for completing the half-day rest task. Reward 1 ability crystal core. Not bad, lying down to receive abilities. Shen Yun's eyes lit up as he quickly opened his backpack. He saw a white crystal core emitting a cold mist appear before his eyes. Ice-type ability crystal core consume to awaken. Ice-type ability ice spike warm reminder ability upgrade requires energy crystal cores. 25 energy crystal cores can elevate the ability to the 1st tier. The output of energy crystal cores also comes from the brains of zombies. This type of crystal core is specifically used for ability enhancement, and travelers have already explored it in the chat box. Shen Yun took it out and consumed it directly. Recently, he had been completing missions and hadn't dug into any zombie heads. Considering the current apocalyptic progress and the strength of others, abilities for Shen Yun are merely an added bonus. He isn't overly demanding. The crystal core dissolved instantly upon entry, like a surge of cold mist flowing into his mouth and spreading throughout his body. Simultaneously, the method of using the ability also flowed into his mind. Better than nothing. Shen Yun exhaled a breath of cold air with a smile, just as he was about to test the ability when a prompt sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining Ice-type ability. Current level initial triggering level up effect. Ice-type ability increases to the peak of the 10th tier. Congratulations, Traveler Shen Yun, for elevating the Ice-type ability to the top level, unlocking Ice-type abilities: Rain of Arrows, Frozen, 1000 Miles, Ice, Sword, Ice Wing, Solid Ice, Shield, Absolute Ice, Domain, Frozen Space. Shen Yun, who was initially calm, widened his eyes upon hearing over 10 awakened abilities. What the hell? The ability level can also be upgraded. Yes, host, the level up effect includes ability levels. 666. You really are something, system. Hey, race a toast to you. Shen Yun laughed and took a sip of beer. Thank you, host, but the system can't drink. Haha, no worries. After finishing his drink, Shen Yun curiously approached the window, looking at the horde of corpses in the street, his eyes shining brightly as he quietly commanded, Rain of Arrows. Buzz. A wave of mental ripples instantly swept out from between his eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, countless ice arrows plummeted from the sky above this street, which was just over 200 meters long. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The arrows, propelled to their maximum velocity, left a series of afterimages in the air as they struck the horde of corpses on the ground. The arrows were extremely sharp and could easily pierce through the vehicles by the roadside, let alone the zombies. In a short while, the zombies on this street fell silent. They were all frozen in place, becoming crystalline ice sculptures. The scene looked magnificent. The power is quite impressive. Shen Yun nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the refreshed task in the taskbar. Approaching Tulip Academy. Please prepare for parking. Hearing the navigation prompt, Shen Yun spotted the academy's closed main gate ahead and slammed the accelerator of his off-road vehicle, charging straight through. Before he even drew near, a wisp of icy mist shattered the padlock on the massive iron gate. Clang! A thunderous crash sent tremors of alarm through faculty and students alike. What was that sound? Sounds like the main gate and a car engine. Everyone rushed out of classrooms into the corridors. Roar! At the sight of hordes of zombies flooding through the campus gate, onlookers froze in visceral terror. After days of hard-won calm, this sudden breach shattered their fragile peace. Someone had just smashed open the academy's gates. What's going on? A bare-chested man burst from his office into the corridor. No one needed to point it out. He saw at once the off-road vehicle tearing across the courtyard, trailed by the shambling horde. Damn it! He slammed his fist onto the balcony railing, glaring with murderous intensity at the figure inside the car. For days, Xiao Chun and his men had labored relentlessly to clear Tulip Academy of zombies, only for some unknown bastard to obliterate their work in an instant. What unsettled Xiao Chun most was the possibility that this intruder might seize his territory. Tulip Academy was an all-female private institution. He planned to forge a formidable women's legion here. If the newcomer proved overwhelmingly powerful, Xiao Chun would have no choice but to bide his time and plot in silence. Yet if the stranger were merely bluffing, he'd make him regret ever setting foot on this ground. In the corridor, over a dozen armed men rushed forward. Brother Xiao, what do we do now? Xiao Chun watched the off-road vehicle steer directly toward their building. His mind raced, his voice dropped low and commanding. Anyone bold enough to drive alone through the streets must be extraordinary. First, hold steady and hear what he says. Don't throw your lives away recklessly. Follow me down to assess the situation. If he's just a clueless rookie, eliminate him on the spot. Understood. We're with you, Brother Xiao. His men nodded grimly. All locals, none were transmigrants. They'd heard rumors that outsiders bore apocalyptic missions and rewards. Should this driver prove to be one, caution would be paramount. Right now, survival depended on discerning the stranger's origin and strength. Rushing headlong into battle meant dying, without even understanding why. After issuing orders, Xiao Chun accepted a shirt handed to him by a female teacher and barked at the whispering students gathered in the corridor. Think carefully before you speak. What's said and unsaid could cost you dearly. I'm the one feeding you. Do you hear me? Lily, you keep watch over them. Lily, caught mid-exhilaration, felt her mood plummet as Xiao Chun bolted outside at the first sign of commotion. Now entrusted with authority, she nodded briskly and swept the group with a frosty gaze. Rest assured, I'll see who dares gossip. Clearly she was already bound to Xiao Chun's cause. With an unknown force suddenly arriving, distancing herself would offer no safety. Someone would surely betray her. Better to commit fully and ride this path to its end. Haha, I'll deal with you later. Satisfied, Xiao Chun gave her backside a playful pat and sprinted down. Watching Lily trail Xiao Chun downstairs like a devoted shadow, several girls sneered. Lily's truly shameless, selling herself for scraps of food. Exactly. Who knew she'd sink so low? First Lady of Tulip. Huh. Quiet down. Plenty of others are secretly cozying up to Xiao Chun's men for rations. One wrong word and you're finished. That warning silenced the murmurers instantly. The courtyard below. Shen Yun drove straight to the front of the academic building and halted. He hadn't come for any women's legion, but to fulfill a mission, establish a faction's 600 members. Of all nearby locations capable of yielding such numbers, large corporations, industrial zones, or academies, the latter two were too distant. For him, recruiting was merely task completion. Efficiency mattered most. With a sharp screech of brakes, the off-road vehicle halted beneath the stairwell. Shen Yun stepped out calmly, unfazed by the surrounding horde. From the staircase above, Xiao Chun's entire body tensed, every hair standing on end. This man actually ignores the zombies. As Shen Yun advanced, the undead stiffened mid-stride, as if repelled by an invisible aura, and scattered in all directions. The spectacle left Xiao Chun and his men awestruck. Even faculty and students watching from balconies gasped aloud, faces etched with disbelief. A zombie transmigrant. That was everyone's immediate thought. Tulip Academy already sheltered several transmigrants. Protected carefully by Xiao Chun, these individuals possessed chat interfaces granting them privileged knowledge of the... Snapping back to reality as Shen Yun neared the stairwell, Xiao Chun jolted violently and slapped his nearest underling across the face, standing there waiting to die. Drop your weapons, now? Clear the way and carry furniture to welcome our elder brother. What use was defiance? He'd kneel outright. Clang. Long blades clattered to the floor. Trembling, they scrambled to haul desks and chairs back up the stairs, some collapsing mid-step, legs buckling only to scramble upright again and stagger onward. A zombie transmigrant. One of Jiangnan City's most formidable figures. This man moved like a phantom, always completing missions. Though no reports surfaced of him massacring survivor enclaves, he might well be here solely to complete objectives. Or worse, everyone who's seen him is dead. Though they themselves were level 1 mutants, facing someone who commanded zombies rendered comparison meaningless. "Elder brother, please wait. We'll finish clearing the path immediately." Xiao Chun bowed, deeply hauling a heavy table with reverent humility. Seeing their compliance, Shen Yun imposed no further hardship. His purpose was mission-driven, but establishing dominance remained essential. As the crowd watched, he turned toward the hundreds of zombies surging into the academy and narrowed his eyes. Instantly, a deep, thunderous boom resonated from within his body. An invisible shockwave erupted from his feet, swirling dust and debris outward like a tidal wave across the vast plaza. Roar! Grrrhh! The zombies growled uneasily, yet without exception each staggered backward, snarling yet retreating. This was the aura of a 10th-rank sovereign, a power Shen Yun had mastered days earlier. Even fearsome crawlers, corroders, and hulking bloated ones dared not utter a sound in his presence. As the horde receded like a tide, the academy's 700 faculty and students stood utterly dumbfounded. Could thousands of zombies truly fear a single man? Even those upstairs, Xiao Chun and his men, watched in stunned silence as the street-level zombies scattered in panic. Only seasoned scavengers like them grasped the true magnitude of his power. In the apocalypse, such strength equaled kingship. He truly is the zombie sovereign. The sovereign's awe-inspiring might knows no bounds. Xiao Chun wiped cold sweat from his brow, abandoning all thoughts of vengeance. He won't stay long. He'll depart soon. I must serve him not as a son, but as a grandson. Perhaps this very chance will launch me to greatness. Xiao Chun's excitement surged. If he impressed the sovereign upon his departure, Tulip Academy would remain, undisputedly, his. Shen Yun did not go upstairs. Instead, he instructed Xiao Chun to notify everyone that he would take control here. He also sent someone to gather in the Academy's grand auditorium. Xiao Chun knew he had something to say and asked a subordinate to inform others. He volunteered to take Shen Yun to the auditorium. To be honest, Xiao Chun was eager to showcase his presence. All the way he was nervous and fearful, worried that the man behind him would devour him in one bite. Fortunately, the other party's intentions were clear and nothing unexpected happened. Upon arriving at the auditorium, Shen Yun sat alone on the podium. Xiao Chun sent his subordinates to prepare the projector for the speech, bustling around with the awareness of a good subordinate. Glancing at the girls who entered the auditorium one after another, Shen Yun leaned back in his chair and opened the doomsday mission list. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for successfully capturing 600 individuals. Reward 1,500 first-grade crystal cores. Next mission, 300 individuals to reach first-grade mutants. Shen Yun frowned slightly. Currently, each first-grade mutant requires 25 first-grade crystal cores, which means a total of 7,500 cores are needed. The production rate of crystal cores is 5/1, requiring quite a bit of time. Boss, everyone has arrived, Xiao Chun said respectfully in a low voice. Shen Yun waved his hand, closed the task panel, and observed the more than 700 people present. Approaching the microphone with a faint smile, he said, "My requirements are very simple. Obey orders, and those who disobey shall die. If anyone is unwilling, you may leave the academy. There is only this opportunity." Upon hearing this, the large auditorium buzzed with quiet conversations. Everyone felt tense about being controlled by the Corpse King. Those not of our kind will surely have different intentions. Not to mention that the other party was a traveler from another world who surely felt no sense of belonging here. If they say to kill them, they will surely be ruthless, possibly even more so than Xiao Chun and his group. But going outside is even more dangerous. They don't have the ability to do so. However, the girls who wanted to leave were also afraid of being killed by the other party, hesitant and indecisive. The conversations were brief, as everyone noticed the man on the podium whose impatience caused him to withdraw his smile. Everyone tightly closed their mouths, labeling this terrifyingly powerful man impatient, dangerous, cannot be trusted. Not bad, it seems everyone is willing to stay. Shen Yun nodded in satisfaction. Then he took a plastic bag from his backpack and poured a pile of crystal cores onto the podium, saying, "Here are 125 first-grade crystal cores, which can elevate individuals to second-grade mutants." Seeing Shen Yun continuously take out 6 portions, everyone stared at him, their faces filled with anticipation. What's up with the Corpse King? If he gives me some, I'll surrender on the spot. If he wants to kill us, it's merely a matter of a wave of his hand. The other party must be preparing these rewards for them. Especially the 5 travelers arranged to sit in the front row by Xiao Chun, who looked at Shen Yun with excitement. Seeing a fellow countryman, tears welled up in their eyes. Naturally, they hoped to gain his attention. Shen Yun could produce so many crystal cores, clearly having killed thousands of zombies. To achieve such results in such a short time is astonishing. Regardless of the means he used to acquire them, it left everyone feeling anxious. It also proved how powerful he was. Rebellion would only lead to death. Below, Xiao Chun sat upright, his expression conveying urgency, as if saying, "Choose me, boss." But everyone saw Shen Yun surveying the surroundings and commanding, "Are there any school beauties or the most beautiful teachers in your academy? 3 of you come up to receive your reward." Upon hearing this, many had strange expressions, muttering to themselves, "My goodness, does the zombie like women? Does that guy's thing work? Tisk, he's clearly a man thinking with his lower body. No wonder he came here. It turns out he wants to enjoy the comforts of a gentlewoman." TSK Tisk looks like a good show is about to unfold. The crowd's thoughts raced. However, after half a minute, no one stepped on stage. Shen Yun raised an eyebrow and lightly said, "It seems everyone is very modest. I'll give you 3 seconds. If no one comes up, you'll all be fed to the zombies." Thud. In a flash, more than 10 figures stood up straight, nervously gazing at Shen Yun. They dared not hesitate. If reported by classmates, it would be over. After all, it's a girls' school, and there are many school beauties and beautiful teachers. However, nobody knew who he would choose, so it was better to stand up and be honest. As Shen Yun assessed the 19 individuals, he glanced at Xiao Chun, who was slightly bowing his head. A woman happened to stand up next to him, undeniably sexy and beautiful, with an alluring figure. Judging by her mature appearance, she should be a teacher. But what caught Shen Yun's attention was that when this woman stood up, Xiao Chun instinctively tightened his fists before quickly relaxing. Looks like she's his woman. Shen Yun had no interest in being a thief. The reason for choosing people this way was that the more beautiful the woman, the more dangerous she was in the apocalypse. To ensure their survival, they had no choice but to rely on the strong and enhance their power. Currently, Shen Yun could offer them 2 paths, so he was not worried these women would not cherish it. You and you. Shen Yun chose 3 individuals. Lu Lily, who was beside Xiao Chun, took a deep breath and stepped forward. Once the surrounding people couldn't see her expression, she revealed an extremely alluring smile and obediently bent down to take the bag of crystal cores, saying, "Thank you, boss." But when she turned to look at the other 2 who came up to receive their reward, her eyes twitched. The first girl, besides being pretty, was nothing special, still a woman under Xiao Chen's command, posing no threat to her. However, the last girl was the one who made Lu Lily's heart race. The tall girl wore a dirty school uniform with messy hair and her bare arms showing numerous bruises. The crowd observing the award recipients was filled with astonished expressions upon seeing her. Qin Shiyu. How did she get here? Wasn't she locked up? Perhaps she was released because she dared not defy the boss orders. Maybe Xiao Chen's people were afraid of Qin Shiyu's friends causing a scene here. But why would the boss choose her? The discussions were not loud. The girls by the aisle covered their mouths and noses, recoiling from the foul smell emanating from her. Qin Shiyu showed no change in expression, calmly staring at Shen Yun as she slowly walked up the steps. When she got closer, Shen Yun pushed a bag of crystal cores toward her, smiling faintly as he said, "Kneel down and submit to me." Before Lu Lily and the other girl could react, Qin Shiyu tightly grasped the crystal core bag and directly knelt on the ground. This kneel seemed to release all her strength, making a heavy thud. The sound made Lu Lily and the other girl shiver, and they quickly knelt on the ground. Shen Yun smiled and tapped the podium, saying, "Get up, stand aside, and consume the crystal cores." Thank you." The staggeringly standing Qin Shiyu and Lu Lily quickly expressed their gratitude. Below, Xiao Chun noticed the 3 stood up, blocking Shen Yun's view, and quickly turned to glare fiercely at the subordinate in the back. The murderous intent in his eyes scared the subordinate, making him shiver as he whispered, "Xiao Ge." Qin Shiyu's friend Gu Wan entered the auditorium, saying she would report us even if it cost her everything. There's no other way. Damn it. Xiao Chen truly regretted not killing Gu Wan and Qin Shiyu. Qin Shiyu is the president of the Tulip Academy Student Council. She caused him great trouble when he wanted to seize control of the academy. But the other party was too beautiful, arguably the most beautiful at Tulip Academy, and from a prestigious family. In the past, someone like him, an ordinary person, could never have reached her. Xiao Chen couldn't bear to kill her, thinking to conquer Qin Shiyu with strength. Although he forced Qin Shiyu, after all, she was his woman. He thought that once Qin Shiyu saw the reality, she would understand to submit to him. But he never expected that today she would be released and chosen by the Corpse King. Seeing Shen Yun toss the remaining 3 bags containing 125 crystal cores onto the ground, Xiao Chen immediately revealed a longing expression. He must obtain this reward of crystal cores. Xiao Chen perished. Send me the fittest girl. Surely you have a swordsmanship club. Someone formidable. As for the last spot. Shen Yun glanced at Xiao Chen and smiled, "You're it." A flash of sharp light erupted in Xiao Chen's eyes as he shot to his feet, exclaiming fervently, "Thank you, Brother Shen." He needed only 30-odd more essence crystals to ascend to 2nd stage mutation. Give the rest to my juniors to enhance their strength. Qin Shiyu, even if she wished to kill him, could not possibly stand against them all. Yet just as he stepped toward the platform, a chilling, venomous roar sent shivers down every spine present. "Xiao Chen, I will have you dead." Whoosh, boom. With a thunderous crack, Qin Shiyu shattered the wooden stage with 1 foot and shot toward Xiao Chen like a lethal arrow. Having already ascended to 2nd stage mutation, her speed was terrifying. Her velocity, amplified by seething grief and fury and reckless disregard for Shen Yun's possible intervention, transformed her into a blur, a desperate final lunge. Xiao Chen's pupils contracted violently. He drew his waist dagger and bellowed in panic, brother Shen. Lili, save me. He had never imagined, never dreamed, that Qin Shiyu would strike in such a pivotal moment. Knowing he stood no chance, he could only beg his woman and the zombie sovereign for salvation. Lu Lili, seated on the stage, caught Shen Yun's calm expression from the corner of her eye as he methodically sorted crystal piles. Utterly unmoved, as though she hadn't spoken at all. A chill seized her. Did he choose us, deliberately? Hiss. The moment this formidable man selected Qin Shiyu, Lu Lili sensed he bore no trace of lustful impulse. And indeed, both she and the other girls sat beside men. Hiss. Realizing Shen Yun was no lecherous brute, Lu Lili broke into a cold sweat down her spine. He was orchestrating a proxy slaughter. In this scenario, a beautiful woman sitting beside an ordinary-looking man. Was it love? At least Lu Lili wasn't, nor was the stunning girl beside her. As for the wretched Qin Shiyu, did she need further explanation? Once they rose to power, the humiliations they'd endured would be repaid tenfold. No matter what, Lu Lili, sweat beading on her brow, dared not stir. Rescue Xiao Chun. She had no wish to die so soon. In the blink of an eye, thwip, Qin Shiyu's right hand plunged straight into Xiao Chen's throat. Under his bloodshot, horrified gaze, she wrenched out his windpipe. Spurt. A torrent of crimson gushed from his neck. All the girls paled instantly at the sight. A chorus of dry heaves echoed through the hall. Even several teachers turned away, covering their lips in revulsion. It was too horrifying, too bloody. Thud. Gazing upon Xiao Chen's convulsing form and his impotent, furious stare, Qin Shiyu, a woman whose lips were cracked and dry, curled them into a ghastly, chilling smile. Yeah. That parched, hollow laugh carried oceans of bitterness, shame, and sorrow. Finally, tears streaming down her face, she threw back her head and shrieked toward the heavens. Reckoning does not delay. Ha ha ha. Her piercing cry reverberated across the entire auditorium. Witnessing Qin Shiyu, her hair wild, her body trembling. Many of her close friends and teachers wept. Senior sister Qin enjoyed immense popularity across the academy, exemplary in conduct and scholarship, kind-hearted, never arrogant. Yet they remained under Xiao Chen's domination, struggling even to obtain essence crystals. Only the swordsmanship club girls who served as Xiao Chen's menial laborers received 1 or 2 crystals as reward. Now 2 more girls knelt upon the stage, a freckled sprinter and the swordsmanship club's president, a serene, long-haired young woman with a neat fringe. Rise. Thank you, sire. Shen Yun surveyed the 4 kneeling figures, and Qin Shiyu approaching with lowered head, then gestured toward the pile of essence crystals on the table. 800 remain. Divide them among the 5 of you. Then each select 125 members to form your own squads, and accompany me in hunting zombies. The rest shall serve as logistical support. At those words, the hushed hall erupted. Zombie hunting squads. The sire commands zombies. Will hunt his kin? Before she could finish, a companion clapped a hand over her mouth. She realized too late how perilous such words were. Oh, this is pure fortune. Good heavens, I can become a mutant too. Once I grow stronger, I'll finally eat my fill. Only a sovereign like the sire possesses such vision. Unlike Xiao Chun, who hoarded crystals while dreaming of a harem, his death was well-deserved. Excited chatter exploded across the hall. For most girls, strength was the sole guarantee of survival, certainly better than recent days of starvation. To earn even a full meal, they'd had to perform degrading acts for Xiao Chen's pleasure, subjugated, powerless. Nor would tragedies like Qin Shiyu's ever recur. Hadn't the self-proclaimed warlord Xiao Chun been slaughtered without resistance, cut down instantly by Qin Shiyu herself? That was the power of true strength. Now they didn't merely hold the chance to grow stronger. They watched the zombie sovereign prepare to build a disciplined order, not a decadent harem. How could they not be exhilarated? Thump, thump. As Shen Yun tapped the microphone, the crowd fell silent. Tomorrow, everyone departs, to gather essence crystals and supplies. Within 3 days, all must reach first-stage mutation. In the transcendent evaluation system, subordinates' combat prowess directly impacted the sovereign's rating. Shen Yun refused to let this cohort earn a mere B, as the wolf pack had before them. As he spoke, he waved his hand, drawing forth from his spatial ring vast quantities of instant noodles, bottled water, ready-to-go heat meals, sanitary pads, and bathing supplies, until the entire podium overflowed. Goodness, so much supply, eh? Only the zombie sovereign could amass such reserves. But reaching first stage within 3 days, that demands slaughtering countless zombies. It's impossible. All were elated and awestruck. Not only abundant supplies, but staggering zombie kills awaited them. After scanning the assembly, Shen Yun fixed his gaze upon Qin Shiyu and Lin Yan, the swordsmanship club's president, and commanded, voice icy. This place tolerates no weakness. Tomorrow I expect no hesitation. Understood? Yes. Yais, understood. Understood. Lin Yan trembled visibly. Even the recently unhinged Qin Shiyu dared not defy him, bowing her head in swift submission. Rest assured, sire, I'll fulfill my duty. A chorus of eager cries rang out across the auditorium. Shen Yun rose and departed, pausing beside Lin Yan and Qin Shiyu to murmur coolly, "Any who shirk duty or deceive will be executed on the spot." Though the hall buzzed, his words pierced clearly into both women's ears. Lin Yan's heart hammered wildly. Kill former classmates. Yet she knew she had no choice. Only a tight-lipped nod. Qin Shiyu, however, responded with decisive resolve. No hesitation whatsoever. Having endured unspeakable trials, her perception had sharpened. Refusal meant certain death. After Shen Yun exited the auditorium, cheers surged anew. Yet moments later, cries of terror erupted, followed by the agonized screams of Shao Chen's underlings being slaughtered. Power shifts. New blood replaces the old. Shen Yun raised an eyebrow, withdrawing a city map from his pack to identify optimal zones for mass zombie extermination. He had chosen Lu Lily, Qin Shiyu, and the third beauty precisely because each sat beside a man, suggesting likely histories of abuse. Especially Qin Shiyu. Her ravaged appearance signaled that given opportunity, her vengeance would be merciless, her thirst for retribution unquenchable. Moreover, such individuals cherished hard-won chances more fiercely. Only those who've stared into despair truly grasp its horror, and thus pledge loyalty more deeply than others. In Apocalypse, stern discipline is law. To forge a sovereign order, such iron-willed souls were indispensable. The outcome was inevitable. Qin Shiyu's eruption and Shao Chen's execution delivered a seismic shock, an unmistakable warning to all. As for Shao Chun and his lackeys, they simply failed to cover their tracks. Or perhaps their methods were too crude, too arrogant. In a college teeming with young women, Shao Chun could have taken any he desired, yet insisted on possessing not just their bodies but their hearts. This was Apocalypse, not a romantic urban drama. From the moment Shen Yun selected vengeful women as targets, Shao Chen's fate was sealed, a sacrifice to set an example. It was an afternoon. Everyone inside the Tulip building was busy, distributing supplies, eating, bathing, resting, sleeping, adjusting their states to prepare for the next day's departure to hunt zombies. There were also small groups of people chatting about the events of the day. Most of the girls and teachers who reached the stairs couldn't help but glance at the black SUV parked in the square. Inside the windshield, the crowd could vaguely see a handsome man lying on a chair resting. He did not come to the warm embrace. Unlike Shao Chun and his subordinates who sought women to relieve themselves whenever they had free time, among them Lu Lily was the one most favored. But this woman had incredibly malicious thoughts. During the bloodbath in the auditorium that afternoon, she killed the most subordinates of Shao Chun. She even threatened everyone, claiming it was Shao Chun who forced her and that she didn't want to die. Being chosen by the zombie king, she had her means, which were alarming to say the least. Everyone knew that this woman wanted to switch to another man to cling to. However, due to her being a second-tier mutant, Qin Shiyu and Lin Yan, as second-tier powerhouses, were too indifferent to care about her, and others dared not speak up. A night without conversation. The next morning, the 600 people selected by Qin Shiyu stood together in the square. Everyone was wearing sports shoes and workout clothes, holding usable weapons. When the door of the SUV opened, everyone held their breath, watching the man get out of the car. "Follow me." Shen Yun casually waved his hand and turned towards the academy's main gate. Qin Shiyu followed closely behind, not caring about her teammates who were stunned behind her. Is it really this direct? There's no mobilization, no plan. Upon seeing this, Lin Yan and others exchanged anxious glances and quickly followed. They all saw the mass of zombies gathered outside the school gate. At the entrance, a large pile of pig corpses formed a small mountain, blood flowing like a river, causing the zombie horde to become restless. The fresh blood from the night attracted thousands of small zombie waves here. Everyone knew that the reason the zombie horde did not dare to rush in was because of the presence of the zombie king. But how could they deal with such a concentrated number? When Shen Yun stopped at the school gate, Qin Shiyu and the others hurriedly halted, nervously staring at him and the horde. Most people hadn't faced a horde of zombies so closely and appeared somewhat flustered. "Can we really just stand here, then drag the zombies back with ropes to extract the crystal cores? My legs are shaking now. I'm sweating all over, feeling weak. I've even wet my pants. Woo, I wish I had been in logistics." Suddenly, Shen Yun moved. Standing in front of the horde, he raised his right hand and solemnly shouted, "Absolute ice domain." In the next moment, swish, a faint blue ripple spread from his palm, rapidly expanding in a semicircle across the entire street. In just an instant, an astonishing scene unfolded. Crack, crack, crack. As each zombie came into contact with the faint blue ripple, they instantly turned into ice sculptures. The ripple swept like wind across the street, and none of the zombies along the way escaped. They were all frozen in place, sparkling under the sunlight. In just a few breaths, the originally noisy and piercing roars of the zombies fell silent at this moment. The scene was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop, until Shen Yun withdrew his hand and turned to look at everyone. The more than 600 people present all wore expressions of shock powers. "My goodness. This is simply unbelievable." Lu Lily stared with wide eyes, her delicate body trembling slightly. She was aware of what an ability user was. Xiao Chun had encountered a fire-type ability user before who ignited a vehicle with a wave of his hand to attract zombies. But now the zombies filling the street were frozen in an instant. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Whoosh! Qin Shiyu exerted force with her legs leaping several meters in place to survey her surroundings and was instantly dumbfounded. She saw the zombies frozen in ice sculptures under the sun appearing so dazzlingly bright. The tulip gates were open in all directions. But at this moment the horde was completely frozen, stretching endlessly. Lin Yin and others also jumped up witnessing this shocking scene, murmuring, "Heavens! This is too powerful. This man not only possesses the identity of the zombie king, but is also a powerful ability user." Many girls felt inexplicably excited and thrilled, their hairs standing on end. Such a formidable man is actually at the Tulip Academy. The future looks promising. At this moment, a strong sense of security enveloped everyone. Everyone looked at Shen Yun with bright eyes, unable to tear themselves away. Each team find a position to collect crystal cores. Consider it practice for you. Shen Yun surveyed everyone coldly and spoke, "Once all of you reach first-tier mutants, we will begin training your hunting abilities. If you still fear zombies with such a great advantage, you might as well jump off a building to save food." Lin Yin and others quickly straightened their delicate bodies, puffed out their chests, and cheerfully responded, "Yes, boss, yes." As their cheerful voices rang out, each girl stood tall and excited. The zombies swept by the ice domain were extremely fragile, and a light smash on their heads would cause them to crack. Once their heads hit the ground, the ice melted, making it easy to search for crystal cores. Even the girls felt less fear towards the zombies at this time, quickly searching for crystal cores. Meanwhile, 5 traversers smiling approached Shen Yun from behind the crowd. Among the 5 were an aunt and an uncle, a couple holding hands, and a young man beside the aunt. The leading middle-aged aunt smiled at Shen Yun and said, "Oh, young man, you're really impressive. Although Shen Yun is the zombie king, I haven't heard him say he has eaten humans. He had human food yesterday too." Seeing Shen Yun looking over Aunt Chun, Cuifang glanced at the crowd outside searching for crystal cores and quietly said, "Young man, what do you think we are suitable for? Going to logistics is also fine, but they say the crystal cores are few." The logistics personnel were a group of people afraid of death, so the rewards for crystal cores naturally weren't as plentiful as for combat personnel. The 5 ants had been well taken care of by Xiao Chen before. Watching others in the Traverser chat box risk their lives for food, while they only needed to stay inside and lie around to gain time, they felt very comfortable. But now Shen Yun had them risking their lives to kill zombies. That was truly asking too much of them. Did they look like people who could kill zombies? Aunt Chin Quifang's son had strength, but how could she bear to let her son take risks? Fortunately, this young man is from Earth, so he counts as their fellow townsman. When encountering a fellow townsman outside, shouldn't they take care of them? Upon hearing the elder woman's words, Shen Yun couldn't help but chuckle. So what you're implying is that you don't want to become combat personnel for adventure, yet you expect to earn more than the logistics staff. Oh no, that's not what I meant. Chun Suifang saw many people peeking from the doorway, their expressions intriguing, and quickly added, "We're all from the same hometown after all. You are so capable, surely you can casually obtain crystal cores. I thought you could take care of us and find a suitable job. That way when we go to another world, we can help each other out, right?" Find a suitable job. Shen Yun pondered for a moment and softly replied, "You mean a job that pays a bit more than logistics and is a bit easier?" "Exactly, that's what I meant. I'm getting old and can't express myself while my words can be clumsy." The elder woman clapped her hands, her face beaming with joy. "There is actually one." Seeing Shen Yun nod, the 5 of them brightened their eyes. "Haha, it's great to have someone from the same hometown. Young man, when we return to Earth, we'll treat you to a meal." This scene made many girls at the doorway envious. Indeed, people from the same place are different. Their feelings run deep. Seeing the 5 of them looking at him with eager anticipation, Shen Yun chuckled. "In dreams, anything is possible." "What do you mean by that?" The elder woman looked at Shen Yun in shock. But when she noticed the increasingly sinister smile on the handsome young man's face, she felt an inexplicable chill. "He'll send you to dream then." Shen Yun raised his right hand and delivered a swift slap across her cheek. A loud explosion echoed. The elder woman's head burst instantly. The force of the shattered skull was even more powerful than a bullet. Pow pow pow. The heads of the 4 people around were instantly pierced by the rapidly flying skull fragments. Shen Yun pulled out a tissue to wipe the blood from his fingers, tilted his head, and glanced at the terrified girls, his smile warm. "So do you all want to have a good dream too?" No. I slept really well last night. Let's go dig for crystal cores now." Squeeze forward. "I want to dig for crystal cores too." A large group of people rushed out the door, fearing they would be caught by this ruthless man and end up dreaming. The Corpse King, along with the people from Blue Star, could kill without hesitation. These otherworldly people would likely have even fewer burdens when it came to killing. Shen Yun tossed the tissue in his hand and headed towards the all-terrain vehicle. This elder woman clearly looked like a newcomer, and she still intended to morally bind him. She must have lived too comfortably with Xiao Chun, not knowing what the apocalypse was truly like. Once in the vehicle, Shen Yun checked the messages in the crossing chat box while waiting for the next task to arrive. It took a considerable amount of time to collect the crystal cores from the zombies on this congested street, totaling 600 people. After completing the collection here, Shen Yun used the sound system and the large truck on the street to create noise, attracting a large batch of zombies. Using his domain skill, Absolute Ice Domain, he froze all the approaching zombies to the core. By afternoon, Shen Yun finally heard the prompt while sitting in the car. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for completing the requirement of 300 people reaching first order abnormal. Reward 2,000 second order crystal cores, a 30-meter high defense wall. Initiating next task, collect 1 ton of usable supplies. There are rewards for second order crystal cores. Shen Yun quickly sat up straight. He had thought he would have to wait until second order zombies appeared, but he didn't expect to earn them from completing tasks. So that means there are other levels of crystal cores to come. Shen Yun's eyes sparkled. This also meant that his subordinates would always be at a higher level than others. This was undoubtedly extremely convenient for task completion. Shen Yun smiled. This wave counted as an unexpected joy. As for the recently refreshed supply task, he had collected plenty over the past few days. There was more than enough in the system space. Shen Yun fiddled around, putting the supplies from the system space into his backpack. Not long after the prompt sounded, congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for completing the collection of 1 ton of usable supplies. Reward 1,500 second-order crystal cores, half a ton of drinking water. Backpack expanded to 60. Initiating next task, complete the requirement of 650 people reaching first-order abnormal, 300,650 people reaching second-order abnormal, 521 person reaching third-order abnormal. Completed another reward for second-order crystal cores. Shen Yun smiled at the corners of his mouth. 3,500 cores could create 35 second-order powerhouses. In such an environment, this was extraordinarily powerful. However, there was no rush for this matter. A busy day quickly passed by. The students and teachers of the Tulip Academy returned to the school dragging their weary bodies. But most of them wore smiles on their faces. Roughly estimating more than 400 people broke through to first-order abnormal within a single day. That equated to them killing 5,000 zombies in a day. No, it was the Corpse King who killed 5,000. They merely helped by digging out heads. During the process of digging for crystal cores, over 300 survivors joined the Tulip Academy along the way. However, all the cores these people dug had to be handed over to them. What excited and envious the teachers and students the most was not the more than 400 people who had reached first-order abnormal. Rather, many students found their relatives among the survivors. The scene of survival against all odds and reuniting with loved ones was truly enviable. At the same time, the fear of Shen Yun among the crowd significantly diminished at that moment. They were not here to roam through the flowers or explore winding paths. They were here to build a force. As long as the girls from Jiangnan City were concerned, they were all eagerly digging for crystal cores. They hoped that after clearing this area, they could have a chance to extend outward. Perhaps their families were still alive. If they worked a bit harder, they could reach second-order abnormal. They might even be able to request to go out and bring their families back. With this motivation, everyone was enthusiastic, filled with hope for the future. You could say that this day allowed these sheltered flowers to grow stronger and flourish. Aside from crystal cores and survivors, a large amount of supplies were also collected by the Tulip Academy. What puzzled everyone was that the Corpse King did not take the supplies. Instead, he had Lin Yenxin, Xiu Lu, Lily, and 3 others personally select 2 from the team to guard the warehouse. This move not only increased the prestige of the 5 team leaders, but also elevated Shen Yun's status in everyone's hearts. The food in the warehouse was divided into 5 teams for joint management, eliminating the possibility of loss. If anything were to happen, it would be attributed to the collusion of the 5 individuals having nothing to do with Shen Yun. That's right, it had nothing to do with him. Once Shen Yun left, the Tulip Academy would belong to the collective property of these 5 teams. This was the conclusion reached by the 5 team leaders and various teachers during dinner, summarizing Shen Yun's intentions. The methods and vision of such a person were far superior to Xiao Chun. However, when many people learned of this news, the sentimental girls began to feel a little sad at the thought of the Corpse King leaving this world. Without the Corpse King, they might have become targets for other men to pick at will. After all, Xiao Chun had warned them not to associate with travelers. These people would not stay here for long. To gain rewards from tasks, they would do anything, which was extremely dangerous. Yet Shen Yun, with just a few simple actions, had conquered more than half of the Tulip Academy's teachers and students. The thought that such a powerful man would not always protect them weighed heavily on them. The sensitivity and fragility of women manifested at this moment as many dormitories fell into silence. The night was deep. The Tulip Academy lit candles. The dim academy was tinged with a faint yellow hue. At this moment, Jiangnan City had lost power and water. If it weren't for the Corpse King's pressure driving away zombies, they wouldn't dare to light up at night. Inside the vehicle, Shen Yun was tinkering with the defense wall. As soon as he clicked to use it, a force icon appeared below his line of sight. The Tulip Academy, as a private institution, boasts comprehensive facilities. The kitchen, medical room, dormitories, and more are all constructed with significant investment, leaving no room for complaints. It serves as an excellent stronghold for any power. Shen Yun directly activated the defensive wall. On the projected map of forces, a wall 30 meters high and 10 meters thick surrounded the entire Tulip Academy. There are sturdy iron gates at both the front and back of the wall with electric mesh defenses on top sufficient for. Leaning back in his seat, Shen Yun pondered to himself, I need to recruit some electrical talents tomorrow. Since he chose to build a base, he naturally could not overlook the need for skilled personnel. Especially in the sweltering summer nights, it was incredibly stifling. Not only was there no electricity for air conditioning, but everyone also had a limited number of showers allocated each week. Due to the hot weather, many people were shirtless on the balcony to cool off. At that moment, two figures walked slowly down the corridor ahead. Under the moonlight, the figures were graceful, their tall frames moving lightly. The first was Qin Shiyu, dressed in a white long dress, as ethereal as a moonlit blue lotus. With bright eyes and a gentle smile beneath her picturesque willow eyebrows, she gazed at Shen Yun inside the car. Unlike Qin Shiyu's softness, Lin Yin beside her had an aura that kept others at bay, exuding a sense of heroism that made her seem quite unapproachable. As the president of the Swordsmanship Society, she had narrowly escaped the clutches of Xiao Chun. Approaching the car, Qin Shiyu leaned on the window and smiled at Shen Yun. Boss, may we come in? Though her experiences had been tragic, Qin Shiyu was also fortunate. For today, she had found her parents and young. Every move and decision seemed predestined. At that moment, the despondency that had previously enveloped Qin Shiyu vanished, replaced with a vibrant spirit. Shen Yun gestured for them to get in the car. What's going on? Upon entering the passenger seat, Qin Shiyu looked at Shen Yun and asked, Boss, if it's convenient, could you share the upcoming plans? We want to help you as much as possible. It wouldn't be right to delay your progress due to our ignorance. Only someone like Qin Shiyu would dare to speak this way. Shen Yun not only rescued her, but also allowed her to take revenge on her enemies, even reuniting her with her family. She was already prepared to face death for this opportunity. Seeing her eyes clear and bright, Shen Yun smiled gently and said, I have only one requirement of you both: enhance your combat skills as much as possible. Shen Yun aimed to create the strongest force in the world. Thus, he could attain a superior rating for his faction. However, there was no need to divulge this to outsiders. After speaking, he took out a burlap sack and placed it on the back seat. Inside are 500 second-tier crystal cores. You too should reach the third tier, and the rest can be arranged as you see fit. Second-tier crystal cores. Qin Shiyu and Lin Yin exchanged astonished glances. They had yet to encounter second-tier zombies up to this point. The fact that he could produce these was nothing short of miraculous. It must be a reward for a task from a traveler. They concluded, believing only this possibility. Seeing Shen Yun close his eyes as if signaling them to leave, Lin Yin and Qin Shiyu exchanged glances and opened the sack to take the crystal cores one by one. As second-tier mutants, they needed to consume 100 of the second-tier cores just to break through to the third tier. The sensation of their power multiplying caused both women to involuntarily exclaim, Oh my heavens! Is this what it feels like to become stronger? Once their breathing calmed, Shen Yun spoke, Go back and manage your current strength properly, and don't get infected by zombies when you go out. The two girls nodded gratefully. Good night, boss. They carried the burlap sack and got out of the car one. After the two ascended the stairs, Lin Yin glanced back at the car's shadow in the square and whispered, I feel he is a person with a rich story and an air of mystery. Of course, such a powerful man is mysterious. After retracting her gaze, Qin Shiyu chuckled lightly, walking up the stairs. Let's go, we have a busy day tomorrow. Rest early. The following time saw all members of the Tulip Academy engaged in the activity of mining crystal cores. Indeed, even the logistics personnel joined in the effort. Such crystal cores practically given away would be foolish to ignore. For a full 20 days, the vast Jiangnan city had no zombies left. After several rounds of task rewards, the defensive wall encompassed the entirety of Jiangnan city and was reinforced to its peak. Shen Yun tested the wall's defenses, finding it capable of withstanding attacks from 9th-tier zombies, and this was the strongest defensive wall for humanity on the entire planet. It was also the safest city. Meanwhile, the survivors in Jiangnan city numbered over 2.6 million. The sheer number of zombies had raised all these survivors to the level of second-tier mutants. All survivors were now residing around the Tulip Academy. Undoubtedly, the destruction of productivity made securing resources the most pressing issue. Fortunately, every city had national reserve granaries. Moreover, the Tulip Academy had organized personnel to collect a substantial amount of supplies. However, relying solely on this was clearly insufficient. In the upcoming days, urban planning, rational resource allocation, and agriculture were put on the agenda. Yet within just a few days, chaos erupted in the city. Second-tier mutants only had 2 meals a day. In other cities, second-tier mutants had already risen to the top, becoming local emperors. What food could they not have? What women could they not obtain? Now everyone in Jiangnan City was a second-tier mutant. Oh, what good was this power? Many people even shouted, wanting to venture out in search of supplies to bring back to Jiangnan City. Oh, wasn't that faster than farming? Whether or not they would return was a matter of perspective. Clearly, unstable elements were already brewing within Jiangnan City. Just in the past few days, incidents of survivors storming designated supermarkets to grab food and distribute it recklessly had occurred. Although the Tulip Academy dispatched personnel to execute 15 instigators, those who received food along with the relatives of these 15 individuals and those dissatisfied with the Tulip Academy's methods all gathered in the streets outside the Tulip Academy. Their numbers swelled to thousands. Even though the crowd was forcefully dispersed by the Tulip Academy's guards, leading to the deaths of several instigators, this only served to heighten the discontent. Underneath it all, dissatisfaction had quickly spread to every corner of the city. Numerous individuals began to slack off at work, trying to avoid effort and just get by. If we can't fight against you, can't we at least be lazy at work? Water can overturn the boat, and it can also carry it. Without our productivity, the many people in Jiangnan City are doomed. Some people merely observe, watching how the tulips are handled. Others take advantage of the chaos, eagerly wishing for the tulips to lose the people's favor. What kind of people are within the tulips? A group of girls who have yet to fully mature, and a few teachers. If it weren't for their early association with the Corpse King, how could they possess such strength and authority? Their management and handling of certain matters are utterly incompetent, inciting numerous grievances. Can such a group manage a population of over 2.6 million in Jiangnan City? Of course, the tulips have also recruited many management talents. But with a different environment and various human sentiments, everyone thinks of themselves, and when reporting to the tulips, they only put on a facade. As for how the tulips handle things, that is entirely up to their own decisions. After all, if something goes wrong, it isn't their fault, right? It wasn't until the tulips issued a public announcement that the survivors of Jiangnan City felt a bit of stability. Because this announcement was made by the Corpse King, those willing to venture outside the city to search for supplies can temporarily reside in Area C. The city gates will open for departure once personnel are confirmed. The Corpse King had not spoken for a long time. It was all his subordinates managing Jiangnan City. Everyone knew the Corpse King was a traverser and would not stay on this planet. But everyone had to show him respect. Once this news broke, it instantly ignited the enthusiasm of the survivors. Over 2.3 million people headed for Area C. Even the military arranged to transport supplies to Area C, preparing to depart to rescue surrounding cities. It still has to be the Corpse King. If it weren't for the Corpse King's presence in Jiangnan City, it would have descended into chaos long ago. Watching the few girls in Area C maintaining order, yet showing expressions of shame and anger, passers-by felt quite amused. Still too young, lacking stability and temperament, some older survivors shook their heads with a smile. What use is strength? In situations where capability does not match strength, can only be a simple layer of armament unable to stand out. With the Corpse King suppressing them, the tulips did not dare to commit widespread slaughter or violently suppress, which would plunge Jiangnan City into internal strife. Now things are better. Taking advantage of the Corpse King's absence from his original planet, they planned to leave Jiangnan City to avoid future troubles with the tulips. 2 days later, over 200,000 people had already arrived at Area C. During this time, a section had been designated for the military. More than 10,000 people were assigned to another area. People speculated that those over 10,000 who were separated from the military should be the vanguard. After all, second-tier zombies had already appeared outside. It's possible there are even third-tier zombies, that's just that no one has discovered them yet. Although the survivors of Jiangnan City possess second-tier strength, their practical combat capabilities are nearly non-existent. Because the Corpse King emerges in groups every second. Coupled with the survivors' fear of zombies, they preferred to minimize killings and lay low. Now with the vanguard leading the way out of the city, they could also reduce losses. In contrast to the bustling atmosphere of Area C, the mood within the tulips felt somewhat heavy. The Corpse King's commands had clearly negated the actions of the tulips over the past few days. Looking at the desolate streets outside the academy, the patrolling girls felt a sense of loss. If I had known, I would have let them leave the city. Even if people ran, the Corpse King wouldn't be disappointed in us. Who would have thought it would escalate to this level? I heard that senior sister Qin Shiyu caused a lot of dissatisfaction among many outside due to her repeated leadership in killings. Now that there are no zombies in the city, and with the city walls guarding us, surely some feel it's unnecessary to resort to killing at every turn. Alright, let's not say too much, we might be overheard by others. The group quickly changed the subject. They had risen from logistics personnel and could flaunt their authority outside, but in front of the 5th Brigade they automatically felt inferior. There was no other choice. Their hesitation back then led to the current results, and they could not blame anyone. One bespectacled girl in the group looked at the empty street and helplessly spoke. You know, the Tulip Street used to be bustling. Now it looks quite desolate with no one around. Yeah, before people would call me Captain Shun and bribe me with things, the flattery was truly extravagant. Hearing this, a girl glanced at the speaker. You used to blame others for not leaving, and now you're lamenting. I think you're just being shameless. Everyone's expression darkened. What are you saying, Zhang Huihui? Right. We're shameless, and you're secretly looking at the Corpse King's photos in bed at night. Zhang Huihui's face flushed, glaring at everyone and directly interrupting. All right. Aren't these photos circulating from your dormitory? You still have the nerve to say me. Haha, we're all the same. The group burst into laughter when suddenly the broadcast sounded. Everyone gather at the plaza. Gather. Are we heading to Area C? Zhou Huihui and the others quickly stopped laughing and ran towards the plaza. In the plaza of Area C, a large LED screen flickered snowflakes before projecting images from the Tulip Plaza. Are they assembling over here? Tisk, even the captain of the 5th Brigade is here. This is a rare scene. Quick look. It's the Corpse King. As a figure descended the stairs, a buzz of conversation erupted in the plaza. Words of admiration, jealousy, and worship filled the air. Noble birth and royal lineage, who can say they are born with it? Many ambitious individuals felt their blood surge at the sight brought by the Corpse King. He merely possessed the blessing of traverser identity and was just an ordinary person. Once they left Jiangnan City, they too had the chance to become such powerful figures dominating their own territory. Stepping down from the stairs, Shen Yun scanned the over 300 members of the tulips in the playground. Then he locked his gaze onto Lin Yan and Lu Lily, the 5 captains, and calmly spoke, "Kneel." Just those 2 simple words made the pupils of the 5 shrink. And the members of the tulips in the plaza held their breath. Even the over 2 million people in Area C ceased their conversations because of this one sentence. The atmosphere was tense to the extreme. Because the Corpse King was angry, the 5 captains with immense power must kneel before millions. Just imagining this had some people filled with excitement. The 5 captains embodied beauty, power, and strength. Witnessing their kneeling firsthand made many men's breaths quicken and their eyes redden. However, those observing from the shadows shook their heads, disdainful of the Corpse King's methods. Such matters should never be exposed to outsiders. It would undoubtedly shake their own power and even invite rebellion from their subordinates. As soon as the words fell, Qin Shiyu among the 5 directly knelt on the ground. Lin Yan beside her also followed suit and knelt down together. Their faces showed no discernible emotions, remaining eerily calm. The other 3 were merely slow to react due to their shock and did not resist before kneeling down. Yet the LED projection in the Tulip Plaza was displaying the crowd in Area C, with both sides able to see each other. Under such scrutiny, the 4 who controlled the lives of tens of thousands, Lu Lily and the others, turned red-faced, lowering their heads. Shen Yun walked back and forth in front of the 5, scoffing. 5 fifth-tier mutants, each possessing powers, yet you can't manage over 2 million people. Are you living too comfortably? This sentence completely tore away the mysterious veil of Lin Yan and the others. Hearing this, everyone gasped in shock, their hearts trembled. Even the teachers and students of the tulips in the plaza looked at the 5 with disbelief. Who would have thought that these 5 had actually reached 5th-tier mutants? Moreover, all 5 of Lin Yan possessed abilities. What was even more shocking was that such terrifyingly powerful 5 had no resistance before the Corpse King and knelt down directly. Then what kind of strength does the Corpse King possess that even the 5 captains dare not resist, feeling like? Upon hearing the mockery in Shen Yun's words, the 5 women, including Lin Yan, trembled uncontrollably. Qin Shiyu's eyes reddened as she lowered her forehead to the ground and softly spoke, "I'm sorry. I have disappointed you." What she could not tolerate the most was disappointing the savior standing before her. Therefore, even if it meant killing and being unwelcome, she would execute her duty without hesitation. However, there were too many people, and managing hundreds of thousands within such a short period was beyond their capabilities. Ultimately, they had indeed disappointed this formidable man before them. "I am sorry." The 4 of them did not dare to hesitate and bowed down in unison. Seeing over 300 students and teachers from the Tulip Academy kneeling silently on the ground, Shen Yun spoke nonchalantly, "With such favorable conditions, how can so many of you be clamoring to leave? Are you all too incompetent?" During this time, Shen Yun's task had always been about expanding their influence. As for how to manage and cultivate this power, they were left to their own discretion. Shen Yun only offered a few words on the broader direction. For him, it was all about completing tasks to earn rewards. Yet it wasn't long before chaos erupted in Jiangnan City. On the surface, everything seemed calm, but beneath it all, turmoil was brewing. When Shen Yun obtained the loyalty instruments for their influence, he found that out of over 200,000 people, very few were genuinely loyal to the Tulip Academy. Some even wanted to leave the safety of Jiangnan City, eager to venture outside. Thinking of this, Shen Yun chuckled softly. "Perhaps I cleared the zombies too quickly and the danger vanished too fast, making you feel that the outside world is quite safe." No one dared to speak, especially the people from Area C who didn't even dare to breathe. Shen Yun walked back and forth saying, I remember when we started clearing the zombies last month, some people fought over a loaf of bread. Now, without exception, these people all intended to venture outside the city. The environment and strength were provided by me, while their lives were saved by me. Yet you five with such great favor in your hands can't even manage them properly. Upon hearing this, Lu Lily feared that Shen Yun would directly dismantle the defensive walls and leave the Tulip Academy, and hurriedly whispered with a tremor in her voice, "Big boss. These are all girls who haven't graduated. Managing so many people still requires time to enhance their abilities. You dare mention time in the apocalypse?" Shen Yun shot Lu Lily a sidelong glance, causing her face to turn pale as she lowered her head, afraid to say. Shen Yun shook his head and, turning to the crowd illuminated by the plaza's LED lights, smiled and said, "Since you can't manage so many people, then let's reduce their numbers." "Exactly. Just let us leave Jiangnan, and won't everything be solved?" Indeed, capable women are still a minority, not as good as men. The many survivors from Area C laughed heartily. However, after Shen Yun finished speaking, a pair of brilliant ice crystal wings suddenly unfolded from his back. In an instant, he vanished from sight and appeared above Area C. Looking down at the densely packed heads below, Shen Yun raised his right hand and solemnly shouted, "Ice enclosure for 1,000 miles. Boom. A massive beam of white light descended from the sky. What is that? Oh no, it's the ice-type ability of the Zombie King. He's going to kill us. Run. The people in Area C were terrified, their hearts racing as they turned to flee. In the blink of an eye, the ice pillars crashed into the crowd below, turning into icy mist that swept through the area. Crack, crack, crack. A series of crystals spread from the bodies of the crowd, instantly transforming them into ice sculptures. Even houses and buildings were frozen into ice sculptures. Within a few minutes, aside from the military district and the tens of thousands of survivors, all 2,000 survivors in Area C were slaughtered. Seeing this scene, everyone turned pale, frozen in shock. This was over 23,000 people. Not just 23. This is too brutal. Even the military personnel were filled with shock. What kind of person could be so ruthless? When Shen Yun returned to the Tulip Square, the gazes of the crowd towards him were now laced with fear and trepidation. If you still cling to human emotions in this apocalypse, all that awaits you is annihilation. Remember, I will only intervene this once. Shen Yun glanced at the five who were prostrating on the ground before turning to leave. The Tulip Academy dared not move the people in the city, fearing internal strife due to the large numbers. Either that, or they were fawned over with sweet words, or their relatives took bribes and couldn't back down, and so on. But in the apocalypse, those who still carry such burdens are destined to perish. This was also the reason Shen Yun wanted them to frequently go out and hunt zombies to enhance their courage and problem-solving abilities. As for the military district and the tens of thousands of survivors, they were not detected by the loyalty instruments with extremely low loyalty or rebellion values. After the incident in Area C, all survivors in Jiangnan City were extremely compliant with the Tulip Academy's orders. It wasn't that having fewer people made management easier, but rather that the Zombie King had killed over 2,300 people. Such a method truly instilled fear in anyone harboring any ulterior motives. Many speculated that the Zombie King was a murderous maniac in his world. However, the time travelers from Huaxia district had never even heard of such a criminal. As for the few foreign time travelers, it was even less likely that they would recognize him. In the following time, Lin Yanqin Shiyu and others continued to manage the base while bringing people outside to search for supplies. To be honest, they did not lack supplies. What they lacked was decisiveness and means. Shen Yun, on the other hand, stayed at the base, completing tasks daily or checking the time traveler chat box. Whenever he discovered someone selling rare crystal cores or items, he would make a trip to purchase them. 3 of the ability crystal cores possessed by Lin Yan's group were bought by him. The remaining 2 were produced by the zombies in Jiangnan City and were extremely rare. Before long, the time for the time travelers to return had arrived. Lin Yan and the others had already learned the exact time of the time travelers' departure and took advantage of the new year to decorate the Tulip Academy extravagantly. The members of the Tulip Academy had all dressed up carefully. This was the first time in half a year that they could relax and put on makeup, because the powerful man who was beyond reach was leaving tomorrow. This was undoubtedly a sorrowful affair. Night fell over the land. Dressed in black sportswear, Shen Yun arrived at the brightly lit grand auditorium. At this point, it was already filled with people, all students and teachers from the Tulip Academy. The bunny girl at the entrance, upon seeing Shen Yun, excitedly handed him a glass. "Boss, we thought you wouldn't come." Wow, the big boss really came. Amid the cheers, nearly 1,000 people in the grand auditorium turned to look at the entrance where Lin Yan and the 5 captains stood respectfully behind Shen Yun. He smiled and raised his glass to signal everyone Happy New Year. Watching his rare warm smile, everyone inexplicably felt warmth in their hearts and raised their glasses with smiles. "Big boss. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Haha. We want leave until we're drunk today. It's been a long time since we've been this happy. Happy New Year, big boss." What is your name? We still don't know. Happy New Year. Boo-hoo, big boss, please don't go, okay. It was unclear who started it. A large group of women began to cry without any need for acting, pleading with Shen Yun not to leave. The scene was heart-wrenching and brought tears to the eyes of those who witnessed it. After finishing his drink with a smile, Shen Yun turned to leave. He was not suited to mingle with these people, or rather he was merely a passerby in their lives. Seeing him leave without looking back, Lin Yun, dressed in formal attire, sighed softly to the others. It seems he really doesn't intend to stay, or perhaps he can't stay. Little did they know she truly wanted Shen Yun to stay. Half a year, 7th tier, like a dream. Lu Lily held her glass, her expression dazed. It felt as if she had had a dream, and upon waking, she had become someone of great importance. To be fair, Shen Yun truly did not pick people based on looks. As someone who had been monopolized by Xiao Chun, her chance to be chosen was akin to smoke rising from her ancestral grave. Perhaps from the moment he chose me as captain, he never intended to stay. Lu Lily shook her head helplessly, then looked at the four with a smile. All right, I'll keep an eye on things here. You all go and accompany the big boss. He is leaving tomorrow. Her Peach Blossom Conference had been going on for so long, and Shen Yun had merely been an observer. Lu Lily knew that she was not worthy of him, and going would only add to her sorrow. All right. Lin Yun set down her glass and turned to leave. At Tulip Square, Qin Shiyu and Lin Yun, having descended from the building, saw that the black SUV was still parked in its usual spot. For the past 6 months, Shen Yun had not spent a single day in another woman's room. If it weren't for his visible reactions, everyone would have thought he was a eunuch. With so many beauties around, if it were Xiao Chen's group of girls, they would have already been taken down. People speculated that he either harbored corpse poison within him or that he intended to leave this planet, believing that some matters were unnecessary. After half a year of interaction, no one had seen Shen Yun consume a person. In other words, he was very likely human. He had merely cloaked himself in a layer of disguise. Seeing Shen Yun lying in the car gazing at the stars, Lin Yun naturally began to massage his temples as she took a seat in the back. She had been doing this for several months and even learned some techniques from a massage therapist. Qin Shiyu, sitting in the front passenger seat, looked back at him and softly asked, "Boss, do you have any instructions for us?" Shen Yun's eyes closed and, savoring the moment, thought for a moment before replying, "Earth is not the limit. Your enemies come from a higher civilization." This was the 9th tier mission Shen Yun received: go to the North Pole and find the spaceship left on Earth. According to his speculation, the future of humanity here would definitely involve advanced civilizations. However, their group of travelers had limited time and could only stay for 6 months. Higher civilization. Lin Yun and Qin Shiyu were startled. Yes, so you must enhance your strength as much as possible to have a chance to survive, or else just end it quickly. As he said this, Shen Yun turned his head to look at the two girls, who appeared somewhat embarrassed, and softly said, "There should be a spaceship in the North Pole. Whether you can find it depends entirely on your luck. Consider it a benefit I give you." "Heavens, a spaceship!" Lin Yun exclaimed, gently stroking Shen Yun's cheek to relieve his fatigue. Whenever Qin Shiyu and the others witnessed this scene, they could hardly contain their envy. Only she dared to openly massage Shen Yun's strikingly handsome face. To put it bluntly, she was taking the opportunity to enjoy Shen Yun. Damn, her massage skills are impressive. Qin Shiyu felt a twinge of jealousy. Despite Lin Yan's serious demeanor, she secretly kept many photos of Shen Yun. This was discovered by Qin Shiyu, who shared the same dormitory. So the limit on Earth is not the ultimate limit. Stepping outside is just the beginning. Perhaps one day you will both become supreme existences. Shen Yun joked as he got up to drive towards the base's warehouse. Supreme existence. Immortal. Lin Yan's eyes brightened. "If I become an immortal, can I go to your world?" "You really dare to dream?" Shen Yun chuckled. "But it should be possible. If you can't achieve it, it can only be said that your strength is insufficient to break through the world barrier. For example, I may seem very strong now, yet I cannot return to my own planet." Perhaps it was because he was about to leave he felt quite high-spirited and became more talkative. World barrier. Crossing into other worlds. Lin Yun and Qin Shiyu exchanged glances. When they arrived at the academy's warehouse, Shen Yun waved away the 10 guards at the door and entered the warehouse with a wave of his hand. They saw piles of colorful crystals stacked inside the warehouse. The two girls' eyes widened in astonishment. Is this perhaps crystals of other tiers? Exactly. There are crystals ranging from 7th tier to 10th tier, as well as energy crystals needed for ability upgrades, along with some ability crystals. Shen Yun then took out some equipment. As for these, they are armor and weapons ranging from 7th to 9th tiers. Wow, such high quality. The two girls' eyes widened in amazement. With these pieces of equipment, they would become even more invincible. Seeing Shen Yun turn to leave, both of them knew that today's discussion had come to an end, and Shen Yun would be leaving tomorrow. Feeling a sense of loss, Lin Yan's delicate nose tinged with sadness as she quickly stepped forward to Shen Yun's side. "Why are you so good to us?" Unbeknownst to her, this man had already taken hold of her heart. It wasn't just her. Qin Shiyu also gazed at Shen Yun with tenderness. Yet she felt her own body was dirty, and even as the most beautiful woman in Tulip, she didn't feel worthy of a man like him, who seemed almost divine. Shen Yun waved his hand. It's useless for me to keep it, you just consider it your benefit. You've always been the one helping us. Thank you. Lin Yun whispered, looking at him with reluctance, her eyes misty. Shen Yun raised an eyebrow. It seems she has taken a liking to me. He glanced at Qin Shiyu. Indeed. The way she looked at him was so gentle that it was almost overflowing with tears. But when she noticed him looking, Qin Shiyu hurriedly lowered her head. Understanding Qin Shiyu's insecurity around him, Shen Yun knew it was due to her past experiences. I'm about to leave, and whether you like me or not holds no significance. Shen Yun spoke plainly. He was well aware of his own charm. It was only natural for girls to like him, nothing. However, he was not from this world, and such fleeting connections held no meaning. Qin Shiyu silently watched him, unknowingly shedding 2 lines of clear tears. At least in this moment, he did not reject her past. Moreover, he understood her feelings. That's enough. Qin Shiyu smiled brightly, the rarest and most radiant smile appearing on her face. Lin Yun looked at him with determination. I will reach the pinnacle of the aberrant and become a powerful being capable of crossing the stars to find you in your world. Dream on. Shen Yun rolled his eyes and walked out of the warehouse. You might as well think about your future plans, Dave. Crossing the stars to become powerful. If we consider one grain of sand as one world, there are countless strong beings in the world. Does it really mean you, Lin Yun? Lin Yun took a deep breath and called out to his departing figure. I will definitely succeed. Shen Yun waved his hand without looking back and left in the vehicle. The next morning, the teachers and students of Tulip gathered around the SUV, looking at Shen Yun, who was feigning sleep in the driver's seat. The 5 captains sat quietly in the car. The atmosphere was quite melancholic, with many girls secretly wiping their tears, their eyes red as they gazed at his handsome profile. Without this man, how could they have achieved such accomplishments today? Seeing the time nearing noon, Lin Yun mustered her courage and softly asked, Big boss, what is your name? Shen Yun smiled slightly and replied, My name is Shen Yun. With everyone leaving, saying a few words won't matter. Shen Yun. The 5 of them silently repeated his name, smiles spreading across their faces. Perhaps it was because he was about to leave that everyone's courage grew. Qin Shiyu chuckled. Brother Shen, you must have been very strong in your original world, right? Do you have a partner? Nearby, Lu Lily giggled. There must be many, otherwise how could the big boss remain indifferent to someone as beautiful as Lin Yun? It can only mean he has had his fill and doesn't find her appealing. It turns out she's quite the seasoned driver. As soon as those words were spoken, Lin Yan's face flushed, but her heart felt empty. Hearing Shen Yun's response, the 5 felt a chill down their spines. There was one, but I killed her. Hiss. Oh my god. Could it be that the boss has some perverse hobbies? That shouldn't be the case, or did his woman betray him? As the 5 pondered, they could only conclude that this reason was plausible. They couldn't help but look at Shen Yun with some sympathy. No wonder he was only focused on completing missions and seemed indifferent to women. He must have been hurt by love. Lin Yun puffed out her chest with a serious expression. If I were your girlfriend, I would definitely not betray you. Right? I definitely wouldn't either. The girl with freckles and another captain boldly expressed their affection. Whether they are pure or not isn't important. Let's confess first. Seeing that Qin Shiyu in the passenger seat had not expressed her stance, Lu Lily chuckled. Boss Shen, don't be angry. Girls admire strong individuals. Anyone outside would like you. Quiet down, the chatter is giving me a headache, Shen Yun frowned. He then took out the loyalty testing device. This device can detect the loyalty of your members. You 5 will oversee it together. There's also a batch of supplies placed around the auditorium. A loyalty device. Such a thing exists. The 5 of them looked astonished. The fact that the task for the traveler even rewards such a device. For a faction, this is practically a divine artifact. Perhaps Shen Yun's massacre of over 2.3 million survivors relied on this. And he only took it out now. He may have been observing the 5 of them the entire time. Should anyone harbor ill intentions due to the large number of crystal cores and weapons given by Shen Yun last night, they might already be dead in the car. He's still on guard against us. The 5 exchanged glances, their eyes filled with admiration. They didn't expect Shen Yun to be so powerful and so cautious. Friendly reminder, the survival in the zombie world ends in June and survivors will be teleported in 3 seconds. Upon hearing this notification, Shen Yun put down the device and stretched. He then smiled at the 5. Let's go. These 2 simple words made the 5 in the car gaze at him intently. Reluctance, gratitude, admiration, loss, and sadness were all evident. Thank you. Take care, big guy. Remember to think of us. Seeing the 5 with red eyes wiping away their tears, Shen Yun waved his hand. We are just passers-by in each other's lives. Let's all do our best. As soon as he finished speaking, he vanished from the driver's seat. This left Lin Yun and the others feeling like they had lost something important, their hearts feeling empty. High City. Just as Shen Yun appeared in the rental apartment, he felt his strength ebb away like a receding tide. The grasp of his ice-type ability in his mind shattered into fragments at that moment, becoming exceptionally vague. Suddenly, a system voice sounded at that moment. Host, a camera has been installed in the room by someone. Oh, please be cautious. As the prompt finished, a 3D projection of his home appeared before Shen Yun. There were at least 10 red dots in various corners of the room. Could it be the police? Or the landlord? With a glint of cold light in his eyes, Shen Yun headed to the bathroom, stomped on the mop, and used a wooden stick to destroy all the cameras. Only these two possibilities would lead to cameras being installed in his home. Meanwhile, a prompt echoed in his mind. Congratulations, Shen Yun, for surviving 6 months in the zombie apocalypse. Rewards will be sent after the evaluation. Personal strength rating global number 1 super SSS. Resource rating global number 1 super SSS. Faction rating global number 1 super SSS. Strength rating of the subordinates global number 1 super SSS. Task completion rating global number 1 super SSS. Hidden task cultural transmission procreation C5 super SSS. It was worth the effort. Shen Yun wore a full smile. As for the hidden tasks that weren't prompted, no one knew about them. Shen Yun had no hopes for procreation. The more women who might get pregnant, the higher the score. Having a C should be, because he retained the library in the base to prevent survivors from burning it for firewood. Shen Yun focused and waited just as a prompt sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the traveler Shen Yun for receiving a zombie apocalypse rating of super SSS. Reward 1 super sequence treasure chest, 2 lucky stones. Super sequence treasure chest, only those with a rating of super SSS can obtain it. Can unlock powerful abilities among the top 100 in the sequence. Friendly reminder, abilities ranked 101,500 are produced by sequence treasure chests. All other abilities are ordinary. Ordinary abilities can be upgraded to sequence level. Lucky stone, one-time item, a thing that will bring you good luck. Sequence level abilities. What good fortune. Shen Yun looked excited. Among the various reward ratings, abilities and strength are the most precious to individuals. To obtain sequence level abilities is a stroke of luck today. It's important to note that Shen Yun's space abilities do not have a sequence, possibly due to not having fully matured. And right now, he can obtain powerful abilities among the top 100 in the sequence. In the projection, the sequence treasure chest was shrouded in chaotic mist, obscuring its overall outline, mysterious and extraordinary. The lucky stone was a fist-sized multicolored stone. Shen Yun directly used 1 lucky stone, then raised his hand to point at the super sequence treasure chest. Opening. Buzz. The treasure chest trembled, and the surrounding chaotic mist spread throughout the entire projection video. Immediately, the chaotic mist was completely absorbed into a gray-black framed card. Ding. Congratulations, Shen Yun, for obtaining the first defensive sequence ability, damage immunity. Passive super sequence defense damage immunity ignores any damage, including that from the past and future. Cooldown time none. Characteristic master protection can actively trigger the master counter damage effect, reflecting 10 times the damage taken onto the enemy guaranteed hit. Duration 10 minutes. Cooldown 24 hours. Note the cooldown time for master protection does not affect damage immunity, which is permanently without cooldown. Damn. Shen Yun jumped up excitedly and hurriedly clicked to use it. When the card transformed into flowing light and entered his body, he finally relaxed as every hair on him stood on end. His rapidly beating heart indicated just how excited he was. Automatically immune to damage. Not only is the defensive effect extremely strong, but it can also protect the master by directly taking out the opponent. Just a simple description, yet it was incredibly powerful. No wonder it's the #1 ability in the defensive sequence. It's simply invincible. Shen Yun was shocked. There's still 1 lucky stone left. Who knows, I might obtain a super sequence ability. Clearly, Shen Yun didn't abandon the idea of another crossover just because he gained damage immunity, even if he can't inherit abilities in another world. But he has a super golden finger to rely on. Even if the worst comes, he can still survive and develop. Let's test the effect. Shen Yun smiled as he took scissors from the drawer and poked himself twice. The sharp scissors left not even a trace on his skin, and the mental energy consumption was extremely minimal, completely negligible. Sequence level abilities, I wonder what generous rewards await in the future. Shen Yun took out his phone and saw that the time changed to the same as before. It was still 7 days. At that moment, a prompt sounded in his mind. The next world will open at noon 12 o'clock 3 days later. Friendly reminder, no items can be brought when crossing over, including abilities and evolutionist strength. You can choose not to cross over and improve yourself in reality. 3 days again, it seems to be a 10-day cycle. Shen Yun felt a bit hungry and walked into the kitchen to prepare. For others, hearing this news would undoubtedly cause anxiety. But for Shen Yun, with such a powerful system, there was no fear at all. Where would he cross over to experience an apocalypse? It was purely for scoring points. 7 days had passed. The ingredients in the refrigerator were no longer fresh, so Shen Yun simply fried a few eggs and boiled instant noodles for his meal. As he ate, he pulled out his phone to browse the latest news. He recalled the last island incident. Many survivors, starved nearly to collapse, had gorged themselves upon returning to reality and ended up hospitalized. Most trending videos on his phone were posted by survivors who had just returned from the apocalyptic realm, boasting about acquiring certain artifacts or varying quantities of level 1 crystallized cores. The luckier ones had obtained either ability cards or ability crystals. A few acquisition notices caught Shen Yun's attention. Dingshin Group purchasing level 1 evolution crystals at 1 million per unit. Haitian Enterprise purchasing Frank ability crystals at 35 million per unit. He scrolled through several more listings and found the prices remarkably consistent. Even official offers from various national governments differed only marginally, whereas the Drank ability crystal in his possession commanded an astonishing price of 120 million. They must have colluded to fix these prices. Shen Yun raised an eyebrow. Under current circumstances, not everyone could obtain evolution or mutation crystals. Moreover, a significant portion of the population had chosen to remain in reality, fearing death during interdimensional transit. Demand had thus created a market, and with it trade. Slurping his noodles, Shen Yun swiped to the next video and found a man wearing a black balaclava conducting a live broadcast. The host had taken meticulous precautions. His face was fully obscured, even his eyes shielded behind dark sunglasses to prevent identification. When Shen Yun read the title and description, his lips twitched. Title: Apocalypse, Undead Sovereign, the Invincible Base of Jiangnan City. Description: Brothers and sisters based in Jiangnan City, show your support. He clicked in and saw the viewer count had already surged past 6 million. This alone demonstrated the immense weight carried by that title. Meanwhile, the livestream chat exploded with rapid-fire comments and generous gifts. Thirsty Fish, are you really the undead sovereign of Jiangnan City? Brother, what rewards did you earn from your raiding? The most elegant man alive, if not for you, my child, and I would have been devoured by zombies. No need for words. I'm sending 10 grand rockets right now. Clever Morpheus Master, what exact rank of undead are you? I've never heard of you consuming humans. Concerned netizen, you slaughtered my entire family. Why don't you just die? Cyber Police, divorced 2 kids, heard you killed over 2.3 million people, and countless other transmigrators died too. You're utterly ruthless. First execute the hypocritical saint, divorced 2 kids. Since when did the undead sovereign kill that many? Believe internet rumors. Idiot. Don't bother whitewashing from a private account. Dare you reveal your identity? We'll end you in seconds. Within minutes, this user, first execute the hypocritical saint, amassed over 100,000 followers. The provocateur fell silent and exited the stream, then lurked outside watching covertly. Inside the chat, astonishment and admiration were scarce. Instead, torrents of vitriol rained down, cursing the host's ancestors to the 18th generation. Well now, that's quite the distraction for me, Shen Yun mused, finding the spectacle oddly appetizing. Hangqing Law Enforcement Team, following host Songlong City Evolver Association, following host Suching Police Bureau, following host. A cascade of official accounts rapidly appeared in the lower left corner. Clearly, the undead sovereign of the zombie realm had achieved immense renown, drawing attention from all quarters. Yet the balaclava-clad host remained calm, his voice low and steady. I'm no undead sovereign. I'm merely a survivor from Jiangnan City. Had the sovereign not dispatched his forces to clear the zombie hordes, I'd have starved long ago. I've repeated this 10 times already. If you ask again, you're just plain foolish. Wonder why I haven't been banned for cursing? Because the platform itself seeks verified intelligence and supports us. Annoying, isn't it? Huh? The host burst into raucous laughter. After enduring such abuse, he'd naturally harbored resentment and seized the chance to strike back. As for your claim that the sovereign massacred 2.3 million people, calling him a heartless executioner, the masked man narrowed his eyes, leaned close to the camera, and grinned slyly. In the apocalypse, traitors who betray their own kind deserve no mercy. Who else should die if not them? You see only the killings, but not how many survivors the sovereign saved indirectly. His interdimensional army even launched a decisive offensive, liberating 5 neighboring cities. So tell me, how many transmigrators survived in those 5 cities? You keyboard warriors, why not confront the sovereign himself or his transmigrator subordinates? I'm just an early morning streamer, a nobody. Insult me, and it rebounds. Haha. With that, he defiantly raised his middle finger. Outraged netizens erupted in furious tirades, so violently their lungs seemed ready to burst. My loved ones are dead. Who cares whether he's good or evil? Words mean nothing. Who can prove their families were traitors? Still, generous gifts poured in, making the host beam with delight. Invincible Long Out Yin, though I've never seen the sovereign's face, one of the administrators of Lu City, Jiangnan's neighboring metropolis, is unquestionably under his command. And Lu City's supreme commander has already attained 5th rank evolver status. An awe-inspiring feat, especially considering zombies had only just begun emerging as 2nd rank threats. Fairy descending to Earth, setting aside all else, he did kill people. 2.3 million. Such a person is inherently dangerous. Fortunately, his ability vanishes upon entering the next world. If I encounter him, I'll eliminate him immediately, sparing others his corruption. Does anyone know his appearance? Post it. Apocalypse first slay the Saint Fairy descending to Earth. How clever of you to ignore facts entirely. You're quite lovely. I know your address. Shut it down now. 3 days remain. Anyone forming a train squad? Private message me. I'll go first, then share coordinates. Chow Camp Supreme Commander 1. Aid her in tribulation transcendence. 1. A flood of identical replies turned the fairy's face pale. She hastily disabled her public profile. She then opened the profile of Apocalypse first slay the Saint and discovered his follower count had soared past 10,000. Trembling, she sent him a message. I merely spoke the truth. You're committing a crime. I'll report you if you dare come near. Apocalypse first slay the Saint. Heh, excellent. I adore married women. When I arrive, I'll break your husband's limbs and make you watch. The fairy instantly blocked him and began seriously contemplating relocation. These were mere side episodes, yet Shen Yun watched with rapt fascination. Whether someone recognized him held no consequence. At present, he feared no specter, no demon, no hidden. He scrolled through several more videos, only to find every livestream related to the Jiangnan city undead sovereign had vanished. Not just those. Any broadcast or clip deemed negative had been removed, replaced exclusively by uplifting, officially sanctioned content. It was evident the platform, having extracted the intelligence it sought, had swiftly reasserted control, because stability was now paramount. Humanity's ultimate adversary remained the oceanic aberrations. Against the undead marine life dwarfed terrestrial threats, not merely in ferocity, but in sheer, overwhelming numbers. The relative gravity of each threat was self-evident to any clear-eyed observer. Just then a knock echoed at the door. The principal guest has arrived. Shen Yun's gaze sharpened. He rose and strode to the living room to open it. Standing outside were 5 men and women, all dressed in immaculate suits. Leading the group was a beautiful woman with short hair. Seeing Shen Yun open the door, she smiled and said, "Hello, Mr. Shen. I'm Zhang Yanran, representing the Haiqing Evolvers Association. We installed the surveillance devices 6 days ago when no one was home to prevent evolvers from infiltrating residences and endangering civilian rights. Since you prefer not to have them installed, we sincerely apologize and will compensate you with 1 million yuan for the inconvenience." The young man before them had detected the cameras instantly. He was highly likely to possess some form of anomalous ability. Such individuals were precisely whom the Evolvers Association sought. Hearing this, Shen Yun smiled faintly. Without his system, those cameras would have been nearly impossible for an ordinary person to spot. Their placement was exceptionally concealed. Failure to detect them would have meant immediate exposure upon his return from transmigration, especially if he'd acquired any rewards. Should he ever obtain something truly extraordinary, confinement in a black site, or even conscription as a mere tool, would be inevitable. Yet their phrasing was artful, laced with plausible justification, delivered with smiles in hopes of downplaying the gravity of the matter. Still, her tone unmistakably conveyed coercion through authority. A glimpse through a bamboo tube reveals the whole leopard. The Haiqing Evolvers Association wielded formidable power. Only such profound strength and institutional depth could nurture subordinates exuding such arrogant, condescending airs. Noticing Shen Yun's relatively composed demeanor, Zhang Yanran produced a document and extended it toward him. "Mr. Shen, this is our association's official application form, replete with generous benefits. Might you consider joining?" This was in fact the very purpose behind installing the cameras, to identify individuals with anomalous abilities and recruit them into the association, thereby strengthening its ranks. Shen Yun took the form without glancing at it, crumpled it into a ball, and tossed it onto the floor. As the 5 members' smiles vanished, he spoke softly. "I'll pass on joining your association. And do you truly believe 1 million yuan suffices to compensate for the violation?" At that, he casually raised 2 fingers. "Tell your association 200 million yuan, or this matter ends here." These 5 were merely errand runners. He saw no need to dwell on them. Yet his haughty tone sent shockwaves across their faces. 200 million. Boy, do you grasp the magnitude of what you're saying? Do you imagine awakening an ability elevates you to godhood? Beware, the tongue invites calamity. 2 men glared at him with cold, malevolent eyes. Among them stood 2 level 1 evolver abilities. Though unofficial, the Haiqing Evolvers Association ranked among the city's absolute apex powers. Its roster boasted numerous elite practitioners. No mere youth dared provoke it. Were he not himself an evolver, they wouldn't have graced his doorstep at all. Zhang Yanran's eyes narrowed slightly as she fixed Shen Yun with a calm, measured gaze. "It seems, Mr. Shen, you hold exceptional confidence in your own strength, but you underestimate the Haiqing Evolvers Association rather gravely. Might I inquire, what nature does your ability manifest?" Had they known his ability level, they'd have already taught him humility, by force. Were he an ordinary civilian, uttering such threats against the Evolvers Association would have rendered him a corpse by now. An Evolver must never be humiliated. You have 48 hours to prepare. Shen Yun offered no further words, turning and stepping back into his residence. Refuse. Then his next visit would yield far more dire consequences. Suddenly a furious roar erupted behind him. Let me see. What arrogance fuels your audacity? One of the men surged forward, radiating overwhelming aura crimson light flaring across his body as he lunged toward Shen Yun. In the next instant, vision blurred. Before the five could blink, Shen Yun had vanished from inside the house. Zhang Yanran's pulse spiked. Instinctively whirling around, she cried sharply, "Watch out." There before them stood four phantom-like figures, each wielding a short blade, all identical to Shen Yun. For sharp bursts of arterial blood erupted from the necks of the four evolvers, splattering crimson across half the corridor. Zhang Yanran's pupils contracted violently, every hair on her body stood erect. Could he possibly wield two abilities? Not only did he bypass the interior cameras, his speed is so extreme he leaves afterimages. Such unparalleled velocity, whether in combat or evasion, is devastatingly practical. They stood utterly powerless against it. In the span of a single disorienting moment, a level 1 evolver, her peer, was slain. Trembling with terror, Zhang Yanran paled, stammering frantically, misunderstanding. A wet, brutal sound cut her off. Shen Yun materialized before her, his fruit knife thrust upward, piercing her chin, then twist. Cough, spurt. Blood gushed from Zhang Yanran's rose-petal lips. Disbelief contorted her delicate features. She'd never imagined today's routine recruitment mission would end in her own demise. A few careless words had enraged him beyond mercy. Most others would never dare oppose the Evolvers Association, not even in thought. Merely revealing their affiliation forced compliance, resistance, even retaliation, was unthinkable. But today, her arrogance cost her life. Regret and defiance flickered across her beautiful eyes, then faded. Moments later, her gaze dimmed entirely. Shen Yun retrieved her phone, unlocked it, and opened the messaging app. Its chat groups were meticulously categorized: Squad, Battalion, Leadership, Upper Command. He located a group titled Association 1000-Member Chat and uploaded the video of the 5 corpses directly. Zhang Yanran video, installing cameras in my home. Deliver 2 billion yuan within 3 days as compensation, or the Haiqing Evolvers Association ceases to exist. Bank account number. The once vibrant 1000-member chat fell deathly silent. Then, chaos erupted. Wang Ritian, dares he kill members of our Evolvers Association? Who is this fool, courting death? Zhou Shilu, 2 billion. Has he lost his mind? Does he truly believe slaying 2 Evolvers grants him license to issue ultimatums? MacArthur, Zhang Yanran, and Li Jia were both level 1 Evolver abilities, but the footage shows they never even raised a hand. His speed is terrifying. He must be a velocity-type Evolver. The group's fury ignited instantly. Though newly founded, the Haiqing Evolvers Association maintained deep alliances with counterpart associations across major cities. Mutual defense, shared intelligence. For colleagues to be slaughtered like this, truly they knew not the meaning of the word death. Group admin senior leadership has assumed control. Unauthorized action is strictly prohibited. Shen Yun discarded the phone and re-entered his home. The bodies would be handled by association personnel. Just 30 minutes later, as Shen Yun browsed news online in his living room, his phone chimed. Ding. Your China bank account has received 2 billion yuan. They moved swiftly indeed. Transferring funds on his homeworld Blue Star had never been this efficient. Simultaneously, a message arrived. Mr. Shen, I am Yi Fenghua, branch director of the Haiqing Evolvers Association. My subordinates acted unwisely and disturbed you. The bodies outside have been removed. We sincerely invite you to join us, as deputy director of Haiqing or honorary director, whichever you prefer. If agreeable, please open the door. I await you outside. Moi. Shen Yun arched a brow and replied with a single word: no. The fact that an entire city's association would take such a low stance indicates they do not intend to confront him. Clearly, they must be aware of his identity as the Corpse King. Although the evolutionary associations of various cities are not official organizations, they have rapidly expanded their influence in this era due to the gathering of numerous evolvers and supernatural beings. It is not difficult to find his information in a short period of time. After all, Shen Yun has never deliberately concealed his appearance. This is the most straightforward benefit that comes with strength. Everyone knows that his rating must be quite high, and this is beyond doubt. Even if they are unaware of what items he possesses, the Evolutionary Association would not dare to provoke him easily. If he were to hide his identity as the Corpse King, the Evolutionary Association would definitely send powerful individuals to seek trouble. Not everyone can kill members of the association and remain unscathed. A series of battles would lead to endless troubles, which would be a tremendous waste of time. Shen Yun's decision not to hide his identity in the apocalypse was made after careful consideration. In the current environment, social order and laws are virtually non-existent for the strong. However, in the eyes of ordinary people, the city still maintains a facade of tranquility. Shen Yun mainly dislikes trouble, which is why he hasn't concealed his appearance in the apocalyptic world. The effect is evident. The Evolutionary Association of Haicheng has directly backed down. As for the positions of vice president and honorary president, with a system by his side, he would have to be out of his mind to serve others as a subordinate. Suddenly having money is just that. Looking at the string of zeros in his bank account, Shen Yun felt a brief thrill before returning to indifference. When one has higher aspirations, once desired things become exceedingly bland. No amount of money can guarantee. At present, enhancing one's strength is the true path. Shen Yun opened a food delivery app, ordered some food online, and began exercising in the living room, simultaneously utilizing spatial displacement to improve his proficiency with his abilities. According to information from the internet, the quality of abilities becomes extremely important among evolvers of the same level. Power, effectiveness, proficiency, consumption, and other factors can all influence the outcome of a battle. For the next 3 days, Shen Yun trained at home. However, cities in various places are not peaceful. Survivors returning to reality after the zombie apocalypse have undergone drastic personality changes. Cases of injury and murder occasionally occur in the city. Even the military has been alarmed, dispatching a large number of evolved soldiers into the city to patrol in shifts, preventing the continuation of violent incidents. As the time for the crossover approaches, tension, anxiety, indecision, and excitement linger in everyone's hearts. The dangers of traveling to another world go without saying. However, as long as one can return alive, the rewards are immensely enticing. Abilities, crystal cores, technological products, some zero pollution, precious food, and reduced internal core contamination, etc. It could even directly enhance one's strength. This is the only path related to the future outbreak of marine aberrations and whether one has the ability to counter them. If you don't go, others will become stronger than you. When the apocalypse strikes, the weak are only fit to be enslaved. Moreover, in the world of the crossover, people enjoy a life where they have the power of life and death in their hands and beautiful women at their side. This has led many netizens who learned about related content online to eagerly anticipate the next crossover. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. A large number of individuals preparing for the crossover hold crossover stones, quietly waiting for the arrival of the crossover prompt. I wonder what world this time will be. It would be great if it were a world of mutated creatures. Well, I've made a lot of preparations. This time I must be decisive and become strong. Someone on the forum got thousands of women in half a year. Am envious. The unknown weight feels like a major life exam, leaving people anxious. At this moment, Shen Yun is also quite looking forward to what the golden finger of this crossover will be. Sitting on the bed, he caresses the crossover stone in his hand, focusing on the clock on the bedside. 11:59 p.m. When the hands of the clock show only 1 minute left, the crossover prompt arrives as expected. Countdown to crossover 1 minute. Friendly reminder: crossers cannot carry any items, including personal abilities and strength. 58 seconds. 3 seconds. 1 second. Whoosh. A strong light of pale blue burst forth from the crossover stone, dazzling Shen Yun's eyes. Shen Yun found that he could not open his eyes. If it weren't for the prompt sound, he would have thought his eyes were blinded, arriving at a blind apocalypse. Ding. Welcome, crosser, to the ancient world. Survival time 2 years. Activating crossover identity card, heir of the Ling family marquee house. Starting as a noble. Not bad. Shen Yun smiled slightly, only to discover that he was actually in the womb of a person. Am I not yet born? With a sense of confusion, he watched as several images flashed before him, and he found himself lying in a cradle being teased by a couple. In no time, memories and scenes of 2 years, 5 years, and 7 years surged into his mind. His visual experience also rapidly changed, as if he had traveled through a time tunnel full of colors. The progress is so fast. Shen Yun looked on with curiosity. This feeling is akin to fast-forwarding through life, with each scene feeling like a personal experience, the sense of immersion incredibly strong. It is not just him. Many others who obtained identity cards are experiencing the same situation, sending messages in the crosser chat box. Damn it. I started in prison, and I have a brand on my face. Damn it, when I get out I'm going to kill the one who branded me. What the hell, how did I end up repairing the Great Wall in the blink of an eye? I started as the young son of a landlord. Cool. This time I want to marry 100 wives, no one can stop me. I began as an orphan with a broken bowl. Oh, I think I can achieve the greatness of Zhu Laozu. Anyone want to ride my coattails? Oh, in a days I've already entered a merchant family. It's time to recite the Tang poems and show off. You copy me, I copy you. Whoever is discovered by the scholars is doomed to disgrace. Most people's starts in ancient times are considered normal. Moreover, given the current progress of the scenes, more than a decade has passed without danger, making everyone feel good. Being able to live a stable life in ancient times is indeed a nice experience. However, some people feel that these crossers are definitely not here for a vacation. Indeed, In the year 233 AD, before Emperor Deqian departed westward, he declared his only child princess, Zhao Muxue, as the heir to the throne. She would be the first female emperor to ascend the throne in Deqian. Yet the sudden death of the previous emperor left her without time to clear obstacles before he passed. Fortunately, many old ministers in the court are loyal to the royal family. Even though Deqian has hidden worries, such a vast nation and numerous old ministers are enough to carry the weight until the female emperor matures. And Marquis Ling Feng was secretly summoned to the palace when the female emperor was 12 years old. Thus began his legendary life. The cunning Marquis Ling skillfully maneuvered, gathering all court officials into his net. With the Skynet organization in hand, he suppressed all officials and voices that were detrimental to the female emperor along with corrupt individuals. This made all officials tremble in fear and quieted the cries of children. However, great achievements often alarm the master. When the female emperor came to power, she surprisingly heeded the fears of officials and common folk regarding the Skynet. She imprisoned the Marquis Ling Feng, who had poured years of effort into his work in the heavenly prison. This stirred up a massive tide. Not only did it elevate the female emperor's prestige among officials and the populace to its peak, but she also became one of the few emperors in Deqian's history to reclaim imperial power from high-ranking officials. In an instant, the female emperor's authority shook the world. The royal family is the most ruthless. Even if Zhao Muxue did not need to do this, she could still firmly hold the throne.